The temperature has cooled off a bit in the Gateway City. Welcome to St. Louis Cardinal baseball. Final game leading into the All-Star break. Features the Redbirds and the Miami Marlins here this afternoon. Glad you're with us. Rick Horton with Al Roboski. The Cardinals won the second game of the series here yesterday, and they had a nice job from their starter and their bullpen. How important is this last game, Al, going into the break?
Well, I think it's very important. You win the series, you have a little momentum going into the second half. Cardinals have an identical record right now as they did last year, and we know last year was very magical.
Rubber game of the series is here this afternoon at Busch Stadium. When we come back, we're going to look at the All-Star game on Tuesday after this. The All-Star game is being held in Kansas City, birthplace of the Negro Leagues over 90 years ago. Here's a sneak peek at a feature which will be shown during Tuesday's All-Star pregame on Fox.
On July 10th, the celestial legends of the game shall finally have their voices heard.
They've taken all the stars out of the league and put them into the major league. You take Ernie Banks, he played with Chicago. Hank Aaron, I think he played with Indianapolis Clowns.
Playing in the Negro League gave people an opportunity. All a person needs is an opportunity.
Birth of the Negro Leagues in Kansas City, featuring interviews with Willie Mays and Hank Aaron, airs this Tuesday during the All-Star pregame show on Fox. The 83rd annual All-Star game, just 2 days away on Fox. It'll be the 10th All-Star game that counts towards home field advantage in the World Series. With a look back at the Midsummer Classic, here's Pat Paris.
Baseball's very first All-Star game took place on July 6, 1933 at Comiskey Park in Chicago. The game was intended as a one-time event, but it's since evolved into one of the hallmarks of summer. Known as the Midsummer Classic, the game annually brings together the best players in baseball to settle bragging rights between the American and National Leagues. For the first 70 years, it was an exhibition. The game's greatest players were relaxed, ready to have fun, play a little backyard baseball, a game that didn't really matter. Ted Williams' walk-off home run in 41. Stan Musial's walk-off home run in 55. Pete Rose collides with Fosse in 70. Reggie Jackson's 500-foot blast in 71. Fred Lynn's grand slam in 83. Bo Jackson's performance in 89. Pedro Martinez's dominance in 99. Cal Ripken's curtain call in 01. None of them counted. Today, it's still a chance for the best players in the game to get together, but now it does matter. These leagues are playing for home field advantage in the World Series. 2012 marks the 10th Midsummer Classic that matters. It all started 10 years ago when the Rangers' Hank Blaylock helped the AL come from behind to beat the NL 7-6. Since then, the AL has won 7 of 9 All-Star games, but has only won 4 of the 9 World Series. Last year, Prince Fielder's home run earned him MVP honors, giving the NL a 3-1 lead and home field advantage in the World Series. That advantage was crucial for the comeback Cardinals. If it weren't for Prince's all-star home run, Game 6 may not have ever happened.
Braves hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night.
Though the format has changed over the years, it's still the one time of year fans can see the best that baseball has to offer from a single venue. Who will be this year's hero? The 83rd annual All-Star Game, only on Fox.
Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by a reminder from Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Designate a driver. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Redbird T-shirt giveaway day here. Sunday afternoon baseball at Busch Stadium. And Adam Wainwright up to his old tricks in the dugout. getting the team ready to play in, well, the only way he knows how.
He just has a little fun, and that's what it's all about. But we know when he's on the mound, it's all serious.
How do you remember all those choreographed moves anyway?
Another reason why I'm not a dancer.
One of the many. Southwest Airlines Marlins batting order: Jose Reyes, Hanley Ramirez, and Carlos Lee in the first. Morrison and Ruggiano very hot in the middle of the lineup for the Marlins. Dobbs, Infante, Buck, and Anibal Sanchez. Joe Kelly, 1-1, has been very good in his 5 previous starts for St. Louis. Just 8 walks and 16 strikeouts.
Has an overpowering fastball and improving breaking ball. Good changeup. There's nothing wrong with what Kelly has shown. When he got called up in the minor leagues, he had a losing record, but he was leading Pacific Coast League in ERA, and he's pitched very well here and keeping it low ERA.
The defense behind Kelly: Holiday, Jay, and Beltran, the starters in the outfield. Matt Carpenter, as David Freese, a late scratch, will play third base for Colin Schumacher up the middle. Craig at first. Tony Cruz again behind the plate. And Joe Kelly will pitch our Dobbs Cardinals defense.
So one of the few times we get to see Matt Carpenter at probably his best position defensively.
We've seen him in the outfield. We've seen him at first. We've seen him at second. Joe Kelly, and this game is underway. Good fastball at the knees to Jose Reyes.
Switch hitter, and just hard to see Reyes with a 266 average and really nothing this series.
Game time temperatures 94 degrees. Thought you might be wearing an overcoat today, Al.
Well, one thing we've noticed is Joe Kelly not wearing his glasses. Or is that?
Ground ball to the right side. Schumacher.
Kelly is wearing his glasses. Matt Carpenter with no glasses over at third. I was just wondering if maybe it was just too humid. His temperature down a little bit, but it seems like the humidity is up.
Agreed. Cardinals hoping to go into the All-Star break on a good note. They won here yesterday, hoping to win the series here today. A 5-4 homestand so far, and they played the Marlins well this season. Hanley Ramirez 2 for his last 20. Has handled the conversion to third base fairly well.
Only 7 errors, so that is not really been the problem. You just maybe you think, is he making the plays he should make?
Offense down a bit, 249 batting average. Does have 12 home runs and 44 RBIs. Been very difficult for the Marlins over his very productive years in the big leagues to figure out where you should bat him in the lineup.
Well, I think you probably want to put him in an RBI slot, and because he does have 11 game-winning RBIs, that ties him with Carlos Beltran and Melky Cabrera, Curtis Granderson, and Brandon Phillips for the most in the majors this season.
And he may move back to that third spot for Ozzie Guillen when Bonifacio comes back. He's been on the disabled list since late May.
Talked about it yesterday, Ricky, but Bonifacio may have a hard time finding a position. Now,
Ground ball foul.
They do lose their all-star. Stanton has been sent back to Miami and is scheduled to have surgery this morning. And Bryce Harper is his replacement. Another one I don't understand, though, is Ian Desmond. He has been replaced. You know, and Michael Bourne and Desmond hit a home run yesterday and helped Nationals to in their ball game. He hit a home run, you'd think you play in the All-Star game, but he's been replaced.
So Ramirez walks. First base runner of the afternoon, brings in Carlos Lee.
you don't want to do is walk people on a day like this. You want to keep your pitches effectively and efficiently as possible and keep your fielders off the diamond.
There goes Ramirez. The throw to second base is a bit high, not in time. Stolen base number 11 for Ramirez, and he didn't waste any time.
A very good jump right there. And stole that off of Kelly. So he got a high leg kick, takes a little time, you know, very slow to the plate. And Tony Cruz is not that bad at throwing out runners, but Kelly better pay attention at second too.
Well, he has that little rock backwards, which is the natural part of his delivery. There's the slide in the second. But that rock back takes a little bit of extra time, but I don't think you want Kelly to change the way he delivers the ball to the plate.
No, I mean, it's nice if you can quicken it up, but you know, people say, well, you got to get in better fielding position. Most important is how you throw it to the home plate. And a couple steals against you, you will learn how to quicken it up a little bit.
Good slider from Kelly, and that's the pitch that you said he is improving on.
Yeah, and now right there, I think Carlos Lee thought it was high, but you know, high sliders, curveballs, they go a long way.
Over the years, Carlos Lee has shown himself to be a very good low ball hitter. He does not strike out very much.
You don't want to recommend, though, throwing hanging breaking balls because the guy's a low ball hitter.
Agreed.
He's a very good RBI machine.
This ball hit deep down the left field line. It's hooking a bit into the corner, and this ball is foul. Nice play by a fan.
That helped sell it that it's foul.
Might have been leaning over enough to be pretty close. Let's see.
He can't go that far over.
Nice play.
Dad's a new hero to his son.
See, that's why you bring your glove, kids, to the ballpark. You just never know. Father knows best.
Yeah, if I wouldn't hurt my arm, I would have been out there playing for 20 years in the big leagues.
Is that his next line?
How many times have we heard that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we just shake our heads, say, yep, you're right.
Ramirez, the runner at second. Carlos Lee sitting on 29 RBIs.
What a new lease on life for Carlos to get traded from the baby Astros to more of a veteran ball club here in Miami.
Astros continue to go south in the Central Division. The Cardinals chasing the Pirates and the Reds. 2.5 games behind Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's won 8 of their last 10. The Astros did win yesterday, but had lost 9 straight. The 2-2. Big jump off of second base by Ramirez, who had to turn on the brakes. He was perhaps thinking that he left too soon and that Kelly might have a chance to pick him off.
That's what he thought, and Kelly delivered to the plate as he was scrambling back to the bag at second.
The 3-2. And another walk for Kelly. Very uncharacteristic. He did have 4 walks in his last outing, but prior to that he had been a strike machine. Last outing came against Colorado, and he went 6 innings in that game, just 2 earned runs, but he did walk 4 to go along with his 5 strikeouts.
And this is not the day you want to just keep your defense out on the field. Well, Kyle Loesch did such a phenomenal job, but that was one of the things that was one of his desired goals, was to be so efficient to help his own cause so he could go 6 straight times with 7 innings or more. but also to get his fielders off the field. Now he's not getting borderline pitches either.
Pretty close there. 1-0 to Logan Morrison. You have to be careful with him.
Eric Lilliquist out to talk to young Joe Kelly.
Kelly did not have a bad outing. We mentioned the 6 innings that he pitched. Picked up the loss against Colorado, and really the big hit in that game was a 3-run home run hit by Tyler Colvin early in the game, and Lilliquist trying to keep that from happening again. Morrison is hot, and so is Justin Ruggiano, each with 4 home runs and 11 RBIs in the last 10 games.
Another reason why you don't want to walk batters ahead of the 2 hot hitters. And Kelly can get a lot of ground balls, and that's what he's looking for here, a double play.
1-0. Fouled off. Good pitch from Kelly. Kind of has that 3/4 delivery, maybe even lower than that. Drops down a bit. I think that would help the movement on his fastball.
I believe that. You know, you don't see many. You see a lot of guys right over the top, but that just seems like it just makes it very easy for the hitters to see the release point. Drop down, and I believe to get more movement.
The over-the-top pitcher used to be talked about in almost derogatory terms, as if you can really see it when they throw straight over the top.
You know, a hitter just tries to zone in on the release point, and when you're going right over the top, there's nothing there to get in the way. There's no deception.
Kelly needs a ground ball.
People think that, you know, that you're throwing more downhill, and that is beneficial, which it is, but there's a trade-off. The hitter sees the release point too.
A lot of trade-offs in this game. Kelly is set. The 2-1. Now 3-1. The plate is jumping around on Joe Kelly in the early going.
We'd have to think the most desirable count to hit in would be 3-1.
I would agree. 3-0, you tend to be a little over anxious, unsure whether you should swing, but 3-1,
they're geared.
Morrison will be geared. The 3-1 is fouled off.
94. Chase the ball out of the strike zone, but on that 3-1, you're really more geared up to swing. And most left-handed hitters are low ball hitters, but you don't want to swing at a ball 6 inches below the strike zone. This is where Kelly, you know, when right now he's having trouble throwing strikes, but say if he was in nobody on, it would be a perfect time for his changeup. Still may be a good time.
Takes some guts to throw it, wouldn't it?
Right. A young kid with a powerful fastball.
The 3-2. There go the runners. Off-speed pitches, a swing and a miss, and the throw goes into left field. An error by the catcher Tony Cruz on the swing and a miss. Morrison arguing the call, almost a strikeout. Throw him out. And you wonder whether Tony Cruz might have had a better shot at second base than Carlos Lee.
Carlos Lee does get a steal, but here's the strike him out, and there you see he's really off balance with the throw. It was down and in on a breaking ball, so Carlos Lee is credited with a steal of second, and the error allows Ramirez to score. Second error for Tony Cruz, and last year he played in 38 ball games and played 5 different positions and never made an error. But it's kind of also the trade-off of not playing a whole lot.
Justin Ruggiano makes a fastball high and in. 1-1 to him. His average at .410. He has been quite a find for Ozzie Guillen. And you wonder whether Tony Cruz, you mentioned he was off balance. It almost looked like one of those throws where you just don't have a good handle on the ball. Maybe it just didn't have a good grip. It wasn't the strong throw we're used to seeing.
Well, yeah, and it was a very difficult throw for him. It was a breaking ball down and in at the feet of a left-handed batter, and so he's way off balance, and then you're trying to get rid of it as quick as possible, and the ball just sailed on him because he probably didn't have that secure grip.
Swing and a miss. Kelly strikes out Morrison and Ruggiano, but the Marlins pick up a run without a hit. Our Southwest Airlines Cardinals batting order: Rafael Furcal, John Jay, and Matt Holliday in the Redbirds' first inning. Beltran, the All-Star, Craig, Matt Carpenter, Skip Schumacher. Then Tony Cruz and Joe Kelly round out the order for St. Louis, and they face Anibal Sanchez, 43 and 44 in his career.
And amongst those 43 wins, there's a no-hitter and 3 one-hitters. So he came up in 06, 4.6 ERA, but very, very little run support. He was 2-0 in his first 6 starts with an ERA of 2.01, 2-6 with a 5.64 since then. But he has just had 5 starts with no run support.
Ball hit on the left side, off balance throw, and he gets Furcal. Kind of a swinging bunt for Rafi, and a nice play defensively.
And both ends.
By Sanchez, you bet.
Carlos Lee, you know, who probably can't play the outfield anymore, but here he showed that he's got the soft hands and picks it well over at first base. We kind of thought, you know, that in the final year of his 6-year, $100 million contract with Houston, they had been trying to unload him for years, but maybe because it was in the final year that they could get a taker this year, and I think he does really strengthen Miami.
Omar Infante just ran across the infield and gave Hanley Ramirez his sunglasses, and Ramirez promptly put him on the top of his hat.
And then I just saw him look up to the sun, but you explain it.
I can't explain why he ran and gave him his sunglasses not to use them.
And actually, Ramirez is closer to the dugout than.
I'm sure there's a reason. Jay bounces out. The defense behind Sanchez, Morrison, Ruggiano, and Dobbs are in the outfield from left to right. Reyes and Infante up the middle. Hanley Ramirez learning to play third base. Carlos Lee at first. John Buck behind the plate, and Sanchez the pitcher. Our Dobbs Marlins defense. Sanchez has gotten very little run support this year. Under 2.5 runs per game. And part of the reason that his record is just 4-6.
Matt Holliday likes hitting against Miami. Right now he likes hitting against anybody.
Miami and Sanchez, 7 for 14 with 2 home runs against Sanchez. Pretty good number.
10-game hitting streak for Matt. You mentioned that the lack of run support. 5 starts with no support. That ties Bedard, Kennedy, and Jake Westbrook, third most in the National League starters. Edison Volquez has the most starts with 7 times. He's got no run support, followed by Santana. Adam Wainwright with 6.
Another good play by Sanchez. Almost throws it wide of Lee. 3 ground outs. 1-0 Marlins through 1. Want to be here in person next time your Cardinals take the field? Just head to StubHub, where it's easy to find the seats you want to see the Cardinals in action all season long. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. Game time temperatures 94 degrees here at Busch Stadium. Down from the 100+ that we've been experiencing over the last week. Joe Kelly, shaky first inning, a couple of walks, and then an error by the catcher Tony Cruz led to a Marlins run. He'll face Dobbs, Infante, and Buck here in the second. Good for him to have a nice settling inning after a couple walks in the first.
Get his fielders off the playing surfaces back into the dugout where they can have that big fan with a misting machine attached to it. Breaking balls.
Fly ball to left. No problem for Matt Holliday. Good start for Kelly.
I think Joe Kelly has commented on what he's learned up here is to be always working ahead in the count. How much easier it is working behind the count. Young pitcher, you know, a little more predictable that you're going to be a fastball count. He's got a good fastball. Shouldn't be afraid to throw it, but you do have to spot it.
We've always thought over the years that one of the defining differences between big league players and minor league players is the defense too. So when you get to the big leagues, your defenders are way better. They're way more prepared to be in the right spot. Nobody there, however. Base hit Infante.
Good timing, Rick.
Well, you can't put a guy everywhere.
Well, why not? Throw it on the side. You know, you can still get on top of it. Just have to work on it a little bit more. Pretty video, isn't it?
I love it. Nicely done. John Buck catching here this afternoon. He's 2 for his last 15, but he's hit the Cardinals well.
I thought Buck had a very good series against Cardinal pitching in Miami. A few key hits here and there, but they walked him a lot.
And he has occasional power. 8 home runs on the season.
He is batting 178 for a reason.
That ball is caught by Kelly. And we're not going to have a discussion with the umpires about that one. He actually caught that ball. Double play. Our Toyota keys to the game, the home road splits of Anibal Sanchez.
Obviously much better on the road with the ERA under 3, over 5 at home, and 3 more losses. But we said, you know, he's came up in 05. He threw a no-hitter in 06. He's got already has 3 one-hitters to his resume. Matt Cain is the only other major league pitcher over that span who's thrown 4 complete games while allowing 1 hit or no hits. He threw that perfect game this year. Verlander and R.A. Dickey have 3 each. In the first inning, it was just Sanchez playing catch with Carlos Lee, his first baseman.
They just really needed 3 defenders, didn't they? Pitcher, catcher, first baseman.
That's it.
See if the Cardinals can change that a bit here in the second. Carlos Beltran will be playing in his 7th All-Star game. 35-year-old Cardinal right fielder. is thrilled about going back to Kansas City.
I think he would feel better if he had a good offensive game today. He's 6 for 30 on the homestand.
So where Ryan Braun hit his 24th.
Although still second in the National League home runs with 20, but it's been a while. And still leads with 65 RBIs, right?
You bet. Number 1 in RBIs.
Average right at 300, so you want to make sure you're staying over that plateau when you go to the All-Star game.
Ground ball to second.
Rolling over a lot of ground balls to second.
Look at the Cardinals record this homestand. They're 5-4. They've scored over 4 runs a game. The ERA just over 4.
Look at the struggles they've had with runners in scoring position. I guess that's opposition, but Cardinals are even worse than that.
Agreed.
Prior to yesterday, they were 1 for 40 in their last 5 games. Or excuse me, it was a 140 something batting average in their last 5 games with runners in scoring position.
Trailing 1-0 here in the second. Cardinals are 5 games over 500 going into this final game before the break. Their high water mark of the season came on May 9th when they were 20-11. They were +9 at the time.
Have the identical mark right now, 45-40, as they did last year at this time.
Alan Craig has 9 RBIs on this homestand, and he swings through that off-speed pitch.
3 for 4 yesterday. 44 RBIs in 45 games.
The 2-2. Craig, along with a number of Cardinals batting over 300, really has been a potent offense for St. Louis, still leading the National League with their .275 batting average cumulatively. The Marlins are next to last at .242. Only the Padres with a lower average. Ball driven to right field. And this ball is up against the wall. Another double for Alan Craig over the head of Dobbs.
Had 2 doubles in yesterday's ball game, and here the first hit is a double with a 1 out. And he gets a change up. You see the circle change. Not a bad pitch at all. He hits it well, and he, like David Freese, has power to that opposite field.
Ball was in the air a long time to not be caught. So he did hit it in the gap in right center. RBI opportunity now for Matt Carpenter, who has 21.
And most of those have been at home as RBIs.
Little dribbler to the right side. Lee to Sanchez. Craig advances to third. Stars are going to align for the 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The best of the American League will take on the National League's top players. Don't miss the action Tuesday, July 10th at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox. Line drive, base hit to center for Schumacher, and he has tied this game. A soft liner up the middle. RBI number 15 for Schumacher.
Can't keep him down, can you? Skip, the old professional, just keeps on producing. Say he doesn't have much power, so he tries to jam him right there, and he just fights it off and muscles it over the infield, and we have a tie ball game.
Schumacher comes through. Now it's Tony Cruz. Cruz had a home run off of Sanchez, his first major league home run. That came on the 27th of June in Miami. He was 2 for 3 in that ball game. Getting the starts here this weekend. Yadier Molina, as we've mentioned, is on the bereavement list. His wife's grandfather has passed, and he is back in Puerto Rico and will miss the All-Star game. Schumacher, there he goes. Fly ball to right. No, it's shallow right. It's the first baseman. Must have hit that off the end of the bat. Cruz is retired. Cardinals have tied it. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And get the All-American Jack combo at Jack in the Box. It's a no-nonsense burger with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. What's your ballpark favorite? We all have one. Plenty of good choices here at Busch Stadium. Fans enjoying their afternoon here and would like to see a Cardinal victory. 1-1 through 2. Joe Kelly and Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez will lead it off for the Marlins. And then back to the top of the order in Reyes and Ramirez. Not much of a hitter, Anibal Sanchez. He's at 083.
But he's standing there. You better respect him.
Respect him, but don't walk him.
Don't walk him is the biggest point.
Don't want to respect him that much. There we go. Sanchez, a career 089 hitter.
It's 3-1. Sanchez maybe right now do the best thing is not to swing.
Pretty good pitch there. Must have missed inside. So he walks the pitcher. Follow Fox Sports Midwest coverage of the Cardinals with MLB.com at Bat12 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details.
Ricky, that was just part of the strategy to keep the pitcher out there on the base paths, leadoff hitter. Don't let him get any chance to cool off.
Is it okay if I question that strategy?
Yes.
No, I read the sarcasm, Al. Nothing drives a pitching coach crazy any more than walking a pitcher, especially leading off an inning.
Well, especially one that doesn't hit for high average. No reason to fear him.
Good bunt by Reyes. You're going to have to hurry. He does, and he gets it just barely. Good bunt by Jose Reyes.
Nice play by Kelly. Just calmly went to there and, got it, and then just fired a strike. You don't have much time to wait around, but you don't want to just charge off the mound and be out of control either. So bunting for a base hit and accomplishes the sacrifice.
You wouldn't think Reyes would be a guy that would be doubled up much, and you almost think he could just swing away, and if he trades places with the pitcher, he can just go ahead and steal second base.
Well, you think that, but you know, Reyes has hit into 7 double places. That is surprising.
I agree.
Ramirez has hit into 11.
0-1 to Ramirez. Swing and a miss. You would think the Cardinals outfield would have a better than average chance of throwing out Sanchez at the plate if Ramirez can get a base hit. There's the Cardinals defense. They plan to pull on the infield and shade him a bit the other way in the outfield. The 0-2 in on the hands.
Good pitch there.
Sure was.
Running in on the batter. It's like he's changed speeds well with his off-speed pitch, but they're right in on the hands, and see so far off the plate, but it's almost a self-defense swing.
Another 0-2 delivery from Joe Kelly. Goes in again.
I like that when you see a young pitcher that will pitch inside.
And sometimes you have to double up too. You go in, then you go back in there again.
Yeah, everybody thinks you know throw one in, then you go away, but you got to keep them honest.
Ground ball to the right side. Craig flips to Kelly, and then he turns and checks on the runner, just as they teach you in spring training. Big stars for the Marlins: Reyes, Ramirez, and Lee. Combined 1 for 24.
Carlos Lee only played 1 game prior to coming to St. Louis with his new ball club. I know how dangerous of an RBI machine he has been. I just keep on looking at the averages for Reyes and Ramirez and just shocking. I'd be more surprised if they were 100 points higher than where they are now.
Real stars of late for the Marlins have been Logan Morrison and Justin Ruggiano, each one of them with a 10-game hitting streak. And really important to control those two here this afternoon.
Very. I control everyone, but like you say, the ones that are hot, you got to pay very close attention to them. Want to make sure you retire the batters ahead of them.
Good look at Busch Stadium. Temperatures have cooled a bit. A bit more humid, though, I would say, this afternoon.
Yes.
Line drive to right center. Will it carry to Beltran? And it does. Nice play on the run. Marlins are retired in the third. 1-1. Build-A-Bear Workshop Day at Busch Stadium. It's the perfect reason to watch the Cardinals play the Brewers during the 1982 30th anniversary celebration weekend. It'll be Sunday, August 5th. 12,000 fans ages 15 and under with paid admission will receive a bear in honor of the 82 world champions. What a great year that was. For tickets, visit cardinals.com. Fans, young fans, getting their Fredbird t-shirt today.
I like it. It's
very sporty.
Cool. When is the reunion weekend?
That is in early August. Saturday,
August 5th.
Sunday, August 4th and 5th.
Perfect.
Look forward to that. There's the shirt.
There's the shirt. And that is really nice.
Did they make one in your size so you can do the...
No, but I'm trying to exchange one for Westland size.
Very nice. I think we can help you with
Then
that.
I'll have to get Addison, Lena, Callan, and happy birthday to Lena.
I think you should wear one of those for your kids programs that you do.
No,
which
thank you.
You'd look good in one.
No, thank you. Anytime I wear the Cardinal uniform again.
It's much better.
Yeah. They go, who's that old guy? Looks more like Santa Claus.
Joe Kelly swings the bat pretty well. 2 Hopper, 2 Reyes. Out number 1. And we want to extend our best wishes to Patrick Willard, who is recovering. He has had some physical issues over the last couple of weeks, and we want him to know that we're thinking about him. He's a big Cardinal fan and good friend of a lot of us here at the ballpark. So our best to Patrick Willard. Speedy recovery. Inside strike to Furcal, who bounced out in the first. Cardinals have had trouble getting the ball out of the infield. Alan Craig, double in the second, and Schumacher, another infield out. This one handled by Carlos Lee. He's been busy. A lot of different uses for those t-shirts. I kind of like that one.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. A day like today.
There's another use of it.
Sun off your legs.
Sanchez looking for a quick 1-2-3 inning. And he got one. Call third strike on John Jay. We go to the 4th. And we are tied. One is our score. Marlins scored a run in the first inning without the benefit of a hit. A couple of Joe Kelly walks. He's had 3 already in this ball game. It was an unearned run. The Cardinals answered with a run of their own in the second. Alan Craig a double, and Skip Schumacher drove him home with 2 outs. So there you are, 1-1. And Joe Kelly is not allowed to walk another batter.
Well, let's hope he doesn't. Only asking for trouble.
I just say you make a rule. He can't do it.
I'd like to hope Phil Cuzzy, our home plate umpire, would cooperate with that rule. Make the game a lot quicker.
Hasn't been missing by much, but he continues to miss on the outside half to left-handers, down and in on right-handers. Just a bit. Logan Morrison, 8 for 20 on this road trip for the Marlins. He takes a strike on that outside corner, and he has 3 home runs and 9 RBIs during that streak, 10-game hit streak. On the line here this afternoon. And you were amazed what we learned from Eduardo Perez, that he really wants him to swing hard, swing for the fences.
Yeah.
That's kind of a new way of teaching it, but they really want him to be the man, especially now with Giancarlo Stanton out.
He'll be out with probably a month for the knee surgery.
Line drive base hit for Morrison. Cardinals had him played to pull, but he found that hole between Craig and Schumacher.
Well, the Marlins will not have a representative at the All-Star game.
This is better than a walk, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, really is. I mean, people say, what are you talking about? But make them hit their way on. You've got fielders out there. A walk, nothing positive can happen, but you can throw a hard line drive and have it be caught. Cardinals will turn 1 double play. Can they do a second?
Carpenter playing even at the bag at third for Justin Ruggiano. Carpenter Again, a late assignment here. A left leg contusion for David Freese has kept him out of the lineup. He was actually hit twice yesterday by Zambrano, and his left knee area is bruised, and he's just sitting out here this afternoon. Quick move to first. Morrison has yet to steal a base.
And with all this heat, you know, I think Mike Matheny thought he was going to have to spell more of his regulars, but really, other than today, it's only been second base where a revolving door, as all the guys have been coming through these hot days in pretty good shape. They all got little nagging injuries by this time.
And the 4 days off is certainly going to help them. The All-Star break, players will be off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There'll be a workout here prior to flying to Cincinnati. The Cardinals will continue their same rotation in that Cincinnati series, so it'll be Wainwright, Lynn, and Westbrook on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But that will help those nagging injuries a bit. Curveball, he couldn't hold up. Luciano strikes out for the second time. Cardinals will face Matt Latos, Mike Leake, and Johnny Cueto in that 3-game series. And one more look at that pitch. Just couldn't hold up.
It's a good location, down and away. Teases the hitter and swings at a pitch that couldn't really do much with.
The importance of being ahead in the count.
Ricky, it's changed over the decades, but I used to always think about this Sunday game. So many old managers would say, okay, I got this break. I want to keep my starters sharp, and they'd use their starters as relievers, and a whole ton of relievers or starters would get losses on that final game because they were doing something that was foreign to them. Half of them came to the ballpark not thinking or realizing they'd have a chance to pitch, and then all of a sudden they found themselves in a close game and just mentally weren't prepared for it.
Certainly a different way to prepare between a starter and a reliever. The other place you would see that happen would be in postseason, where you'd say, okay, we've only got a short season here, so we're going to use our best guys. He happens to be a starter. We'll put him out in the bullpen, and it doesn't always work well.
I think in that you're probably a little more mentally prepared for it, but sometimes just the rigors of pitching every other day or warming up may be problematic for that starter turn reliever.
Morrison the runner at first. Kelly working to Greg Dobbs. Dobbs just a good hitter. Been more of a pinch hitter in his career, but some doors are opening for him. Stanton being hurt. Chris Coughlin, a name we haven't mentioned yet in this series, former Rookie of the Year, is back in AAA, as is Gabby Sanchez.
What happened to your no walk theory?
Somebody's not cooperating. More than 440,000 Americans die each year from smoking-related illness, including cancer, heart disease, and stroke. 10,000 in Missouri alone. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line to quit now. 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Call was in there to help Tony Cruz, and
best I can understand, for Call and Schumacher wanting to communicate to Joe Kelly the rule that we'd established that he's not allowed to walk anybody.
Yeah, I think Call just wanted to know what's going on, so if they changed the signals or anything, but then Schumacher sent a little more succinct message that you said, hey, you were supposed to stop walking people at 3, 4 is enough, no more.
Cardinal minor league system, it was a $5 fine for any infielder that ever told a pitcher to throw strikes. George Kissel's idea was, what do you think they're trying to do? Just don't tell them that. It's almost like yelling to a hitter to get a hit. You know he's trying. Boy, Tight strike zone, too.
Well, that has not helped the cause. And I thought, as you said, that there are several times that borderline pitches just are not being called. Nobody wants to see a game full of walks.
Omar Infante takes a strike. Infante singled in the second, and he's been in a bit of a drought. 4 for his last 20. A very professional hitter, good player,
and a very good hitter against Cardinal pitching. 354 career average against St. Louis.
How about a ground ball? Fastball misses, and we've not seen this from Joe Kelly yet.
No, he's on the
fastball
verge.
command issues.
He's on the verge of setting a new career high in walks. So turn that around and get a double play ball.
Line drive just foul. And that's the problem. If you walk enough guys and get behind enough, sooner or later somebody's going to run into one, and you're going to have a bad inning if he's not careful.
Just percentages catch up to you. Somebody is going to be due. As we said, and Joe's the first one to tell you, that he's learned that I have to pitch ahead in the count up here.
Will the Marlins run here?
Got a ground ball pitcher. I think there's Morrison out there at second.
Not going. Curveball hit on the ground to third. Carpenter to second for one. Schumacher on to first. Double play. Joe Kelly gets the job done. So does Carpenter, and so does Schumacher. One bottom of the 4th inning. The Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Marlins in their 20th season have had a bit of a facelift. The logo has changed, and there's the new look. Very colorful. And they're celebrating a new ballpark in Miami. High expectations for this ball club, which I would say to some degree has underachieved a bit in the first half, but I wouldn't count them out in the second.
I wouldn't count them out, but I would say there's no way to sugarcoat it that they are very disappointed that they're not playing better and getting more for how much they spent in the offseason. It's almost $200 million. Burley, Reyes, and Heath Bell.
Also obtained Carlos Lee just last week, and other teams will be making deals over the next couple of weeks. Holiday fouls it off. The trading deadline, 31st of July. It doesn't mean you can't make trades after that, but the significant ones are done prior to the 1st of August. John Mozeliak pretty candid with Mike Shannon in our pregame interview about the fact that he's always got the sign out, always open for business.
I think there's that misconception. People think that you only start looking at the trade deadline. You're looking every day of the season, off season, always looking at different ways to strengthen your ball club.
And what the trading deadline represents is when you get to the 11th hour and the deals are actually made that you've been talking about for a long time.
Correct.
Again, if you get one that you can't say no to, you pull the trigger on it. But it's interesting what John Mozeliak was saying about the new collective bargaining agreement, the 2-2 pitch misses, that there is a new rule that if you sign a player, a veteran player, and he does not sign back with you, you used to be able to get draft choices for them, but now you can't. So that may change the way that business is done. Base hit up the middle for Holiday.
Yeah, and he used Holiday as an example.
Right.
When Matt came to the Cardinals, they were hoping that they could sign him long term, but they also knew they gave up 3 prospects for him. As he continues his hot hitting, 11-game hitting streak for him now. But He said we gave up 3 prospects knowing that if Matt Holliday, a type A free agent, premium free agent, didn't re-sign with the Cardinals, they would get 2 draft picks for him. And so now that compensation is no longer in place, so you really maybe think, I don't want to give up too much if I can't re-sign a guy that is a potential free agent, is in his walk year.
To me, that just lessens the amount of deals that teams would make, wouldn't it? I mean,
Sure.
You'd be more scared of not being able to sign a player that is of value now, but you might only have him for a month and a half.
I think the Cardinals are very fortunate in that sense that
popped up behind home plate. Buck battles the sun, but makes the play.
When you look at just about every Cardinal trade that got a premium guy, we've been able to re-sign them because this is such a great environment. Other clubs, they don't want to.
Absolutely. Friday, July 20th, 25,000 fans entering with a ticket will receive a Summer Series decal set featuring a picture frame, player cutout, and Cardinals logo to stick and re-stick anywhere in your home or office. Presented by AT&T. For tickets, visit cardinals.com.
And then, Ricky, now this year where you have a second wild card team, that many more ball clubs think that they're in the thick of pennant race, so they're going to be reluctant to be sellers. I wonder where, if a club like Philadelphia can't play better in the next couple weeks. They have a lot of really good players that would be available. Cole Hamels, of course, almost everybody on Chicago is available. And you think about Dempster and Garza there. So it's always an interesting time.
So if my economics 101 is correct and we have more buyers and less sellers, that should drive the price up.
They're,
Craig pops up. Sanchez has been pretty tough here this afternoon. Not a lot of balls centered by the Cardinals. Stayed out of the middle of the plate. He's changing speeds well.
So we allowed 3 hits. But this ball off of Alan Craig.
Boy, that looks easy to hit in slow motion.
I know it's in slow motion. But that's why this game at times can look so simple. So many of the fans have played this game of baseball at some level, and they think that they know how to play it, and many of them do. But at this level, it's a little different.
We used to have such joy in having fans come down to the bullpen when we were right down the right field line, and they'd watch somebody like Todd Worrell throw, and they'd stand there and they'd say, "Wow, I had no idea it was that fast." And then I would throw and they'd say, "Well, that's what I thought it was like." But with Todd, how do people even see that ball to hit it? 95 miles an hour is a blur.
Well, then I told Whitey Herzog one day, can't remember who the hard throwing right-hander was for the Dodgers, but he said, "Man, I like that guy's arm." He said, "A blind man could scout him. Just listen to the sound of the glove popping." Who's their bullpen?
Thinking of Steve Howe?
No, the bullpen right-hander.
Ground ball too short. Carpenter bounces out. We'll try to think of who that right-hander was. What's on Tap brought to you by Budweiser. The 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game will be Tuesday night, and coverage begins at 6:30 on Fox. Should be a fun ball game, and we know now that that game counts. Battle for home field advantage in this year's World Series. Mike Matheny sending plenty of his players towards Kansas City.
I was just thinking that, boy, with the Tony La Russa and the coaching staff and 5 players well represented by the St. Louis Cardinals, the reigning world champions, and rightfully so.
And Mike's going to enjoy his time off.
Yes, he is.
You know, you think about the pressure of a first-year manager. I'm sure the All-Star break couldn't come soon enough for Mike just to be able to kind of regroup.
Been a real learning experience for him, and there's nothing that has transpired that has fazed him, but he's learned from some issues. I still go back to the controversy in the game in Miami.
Fly ball to center.
And Bob Davidson misrelayed what Mike said, and I just couldn't believe it. You know how calm he was about it. Now Ozzie Guillen did what he had to do, but Mike, you know, handled that just unbelievably, because there was nothing he did wrong. It was just in the translation. Bob Davidson messed it up, and Mike even defended him much more than he should have. And Ozzie did what he had to do for his ball club. But
absolutely. Yeah, and that's part of it. Appreciate the competitive nature of players and managers at this level. Ozzie certainly a little more colorful than most, and he will sometimes say things that go out of the realm of the baseball world that get him in trouble. He had to deal with that down in Miami with some of his statements that he made, but you know, he's also a very likable guy. Just kind of chatty, that's all. Two outs for Reyes, and on the grass at third is Carpenter. Reyes had a sacrifice in the third inning, bounced out in the first. His average at 265. Talk about disappointments.
that's what I'm saying. If he was hitting 365, I could buy it. I could understand that. You know, a batting champion, just signed a $106 million contract to come to Miami. Carpenter playing in and still trying to bunt. Maybe it's the dreadlocks.
Pretty exciting playing baseball when he hits a triple, though. Can flat out run.
Well, he was just such an exciting player with the Mets. Had some very severe leg issues that kept him off the field, but when he's healthy, you know, he is just a really exciting player at both ends, offensively and defensively.
The 1-2, bit low, 2-2, and you really don't find people saying bad things about Jose Reyes. The folks in New York said he played hard, good player, good attitude, a lot of skills. Just not happening right now for him.
And obviously, you sign that big free agent contract that puts a lot of pressure. Your new ball club is just saying, hey, we just do what you've been doing. Don't have to do anything more, but you put that pressure on yourself.
Hard hit to center field. Jay on the move, and he circles a bit, makes the play. And by the way, that right-handed Dodger reliever Al was thinking about was Kenny Howe.
Kenny Howe.
One-one, bottom of the fifth inning in St. Louis. The Marlins and the Cardinals. The familiar Cardinals logo hasn't changed very much since the original birds on the bat in 1922. There have been some changes over the years, but it still looks very similar to where it was years ago. That wonderful birds on the bat logo of the defending world champion St. Louis Cardinals.
And probably the most pronounced was the 1922 where the bird was sitting on the black bat.
Correct.
Still, in my mind, the classiest uniform in all of baseball. Whoever's worn that birds in the bat, so proud of it. And Ricky, what is it? Over 70 former Cardinals live right here in the area.
Correct. The alumni group is growing.
I think that's a testament to the fan base. People want to bring their families here.
Schumacher bounces out to Ramirez. One gone in the Cardinals' fifth. And more current players are deciding to live here year-round, and we hope that continues to be a trend as folks stay connected to the community here. And Cardinal manager, of course, lives here and has been a part of the St. Louis community for a long time.
Helps to marry a St. Louis girl.
You bet. Tony Cruz.
At least that's what I was told.
I bet you were.
I was told that you may be liked here, but until you marry a St. Louis girl, you're not fully accepted. And there's a lot of truth to that.
One and one to Cruz. Third start in a row for Yadier Molina. Hard hit, not handled by Ramirez, into the corner. Cruz rounds first, headed to second. And that will be scored as a double. Well hit by Cruz. Breaking ball hangs a bit, and he jumps on it.
Finishes above the waist and really hard hit, and Hanley Ramirez couldn't handle it. Tried to backhand it, took a hop over. So Cruz got a double. Hit his first major league home run against Sanchez. He's been now has an extra base hit in 5 of his last 7 starts. Only starting for the 15th time on the season, and 3 in a row, and has handled himself very well.
Joe Kelly already has had his first major league RBI, very memorable one, infield hit. Ended up being a game winner. Looking for his second RBI here, has a chance to help his own cause, and we've seen that he's pretty athletic with the bat.
Hit 300 in the minor leagues, and we also know he can run, as he got that first hit in RBI.
High hard one is past Joe Kelly. Strikeout number 2 for Sanchez. Rafael Furcal will hit with 2 outs, and time for our AT&T trivia question. Since 1982, which Cardinals team had the highest win percentage at the All-Star break following a World Series appearance? 3, 2, 1. There's your answer. 2005 club.
Figured it had to be, because after the World Series appearance was 04 when they won 105 games, and then 05 100 games. Those were 2 very, very good ball clubs.
No question.
Much better than the 06 and the 011. Wouldn't you say that?
I would agree. start comparing teams, you start thinking about the differences in bullpens, starting rotations, not just the offense, but the offense of those teams especially was outstanding.
For Call, now 6 for his last 35. Got to turn that around.
At 271. Done a very nice job at shortstop, and we talked about him battling an issue with his shin. He's really not going to get time off for the All-Star break. He'll be busy trying to win that home field advantage for the National League.
But he will not be playing every day. So.
Correct. Cruz a runner at second. 1-1. In the dirt, blocked by Buck. Cardinals won 3-2 here yesterday afternoon. Jason Mott picked up his 20th save of the season, and he's now one of 5 Cardinal relief pitchers with 20 saves at the All-Star break. I was a little surprised to read that. Just 5. There's a line drive, base hit for Call. Oquendo sending Cruz. We're going to have a play at the plate, and he is saved. The Cardinals take the lead 2-1. Call breaks out.
34th RBI for Call. That leads all National League leadoff men in RBIs. Tony Cruz slides around the tag. And it's a good break. 2 outs. Should be nothing but just running on home. Good to see Ralphie get a hit and then make it a very productive hit. He's been slumping, but still, as I said, his 34th RBI to lead National League leadoff hitters in RBIs.
Of course, the Marlins not playing very deep in the outfield for Call, so you would think that Morrison would be positioned to at least have a throw at the plate. But to me, it seems as if watching games, that pitch or that pickoff almost thrown away by Sanchez. It seems to me this year we've had more plays at the plate. We've had more throws home than maybe the last couple of years, and wonder if outfielders aren't positioning themselves a little bit closer in RBI situations to try to get runners at the plate.
I think also, Rick, though, you go back to the old days when you had infield right before a game and outfielders would throw. Now they'll do some of that, but it's before batting practice. 3 hours before a game. What good does that do? Everybody concentrates so much on hitting.
He does throw it away. For Call may be able to go to third. There he goes. Standing up, in fact. 2-base error for Sanchez. It almost happened the pitch prior. And then he throws it away.
Short hop Carlos Lee before, and then this one he throws it to where Carlos can't get his glove out there, and for Call off to the races. Shin may be a little sore, but didn't bother him running around over to third.
Sure didn't.
Now you need another 2-out magic to bring him in.
Fly ball to left. Cardinals are retired here in the 5th inning, but they take the lead thanks to All-Star Rafael Furcal. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Ford, the official vehicles of the Cardinals. Fans on sale. And so too is some very tasty items at the concession stand. Folks enjoying their day at the ballpark. He's had his food, he has his fan. Now, how does this thing work? I believe he's hypnotizing himself there. That's a young lady, in fact. And she's happy the Cardinals have a lead. Fastball low to Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez, Lee, and Morrison in the 6th. Rafael Furcal, RBI hit in the 5th. 2-1 St. Louis.
Barrett Browning is thrown in the Cardinal bullpen behind Joe Kelly.
Pitch count at 81 for Kelly. Father and son Freeze jerseys.
How long has that tradition been going on?
Kelly has already walked 4, in danger of losing Ramirez here. He walked him in the 1st, and he later scored. The 3-1 is a strike on the outside corner. Ramirez dropped his bat, but he's going to have to pick it up again.
Fox Tracks will tell you it's a strike, but I'm not sure it's been called consistently today.
I would agree. Full count. Don't lose it. Hard hit. Handled by Schumacher. Going to his left. Nice play by Skip. Takes a hit away from Hanley Ramirez.
That's what we're talking about, Rick, earlier. You know, throw a strike, make them hit the way on. Hit the ball hard, but Skip makes a nice little play, and you get one out. Kelly can get through this 6th inning. We'll be very happy with his performance. Hit hard and only had a chance for a step or so, spinning around to get his feet under control and throw to first.
Manny Gonzalez says that Carlos Lee went at that, and he does not believe it. And you have to think about that one. Yeah, at least he's having a good sense of humor about it. There's Manny Gonzalez. And I know he swung at that one. Jerry Davis, our umpire at 3rd, is the crew chief. He'll be doing the plate for the All-Star game, and read today in the Post-Dispatch, which I had missed, that Jerry Davis was at the plate in the tie All-Star game. Actually umpiring that particular
So that was
game.
what, 11 years ago?
Yeah, how about that?
10 years now that it counts. And that was just a case where Joe Torre, you know, really trying to get everybody in the game, ran out of pitchers. Somebody came up a little lame, and he didn't have the backup, and kind of an embarrassing situation, but the game had evolved into more of an exhibition game than really a contest between the two leagues.
Swing and a miss. Lee thrown out at first. 5 strikeouts for Kelly. Every home run that Carlos Beltran hits during Monday's Home Run Derby, fans can take $1 off the price of pavilion level tickets for the Cardinals Dodgers series, which will be the 23rd through the 26th of July. Those tickets currently are $20. So if Beltran can hit 20 or more home runs in the Home Run Derby. The tickets are free, so let's be rooting for Carlos Beltran on Monday. For details, visit Cardinals.com. That's a very, very good deal. Check that one out.
That's a very unique opportunity for the fans, and
you're going to see
that's not out of the realm to hit 20 home runs.
Agreed,
Carlos.
And you're going to get to watch the Dodgers play to boot. The Dodgers and the Giants are battling in the West. Currently, the Dodgers a half game ahead of San Francisco.
Where Schumacher's playing out there in shallow right for Call. So 3 infielders on the right side.
Guessing this is Joe Kelly's last hitter. What do you think?
Well, I think you're probably right. They did just get Marte up because you got left, right, left. So depending on what Morrison does.
Been a bit of a struggle with the control of Joe Kelly, although the fastball still at 94. 3-0 now on Morrison, and you would expect him to be swinging.
Cardinals are going to need to win this game to keep pace with Pittsburgh. Is
they win again?
No, not yet. It's 10-0 though.
Well,
in the top of the 7th, they got the good bullpen to finish it off.
They didn't win yet, but they're trying hard.
Giants are limping into the All-Star break.
Joe Kelly's had trouble with his control, but defensively, both he and Sanchez have done a very nice job.
Sanchez early in this game was just playing catch out there, and Joe Kelly catches this line drive, turns it into a double play. There's another one where swinging bunt took his time and nailed a speedy runner.
So this will be Joe Kelly's last hitter.
This will be his last hitter.
Ground ball to short. Furcal has it. Makes the short throw to Schumacher. Joe Kelly, 6 very solid innings. This July, don't miss the biggest event of the summer as baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It's Tuesday at 6:30 on Fox. 2-1 St. Louis. Just 2 hits for the Marlins. We believe Joe Kelly's afternoon is through. And our Schnucks difference maker is Joe Kelly. No earned runs. He did have 5 walks. It appears with the shaking of the hands that his afternoon is over.
Well, we thought it was over. He set his last pitch, and he ended it the right way.
Sure did.
Only could be a chance for a win.
Donovan Solano has replaced Hanley Ramirez at third base. Nice work for Joe Kelly. Just 2 hits in 6 innings.
Did have 5 walks, but that's the only blemish you can talk about.
Holiday 1 for 2, base hit in the 4th inning to extend his hitting streak to 11 games.
And he's got his average up to 319.
Ground ball up the middle. Reyes has it. Cardinals with just 5 hits on the afternoon. Run in the 2nd, run in the 5th. RBIs for Schumacher and Furcal. Beltran now 0 for his last 8. We haven't said that very much this year.
No. Batting .298. Got to get it back up over that magic number of 300.
In the gap in right center. Closing that gap is the right fielder Dobbs. 2 outs. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
True to form, Sanchez just not getting any run support. Pretty delicious.
It sure did.
Come on up here.
What are you doing between innings, Al?
I don't know, but
Why don't you just run on down there and get us some of
I'd be more than happy
that?
to go do it.
And get my wallet.
I'll buy, Rick.
All right. Bye, Al. Watch out.
That late movement there, running right in on Alan Craig, but was able to get away from it.
Followed up by a ball in the dirt. 2-1 to Craig.
We made it. Art of pitching is more difficult now. Smaller ballparks, taking away foul territory. The strike zone's much smaller. Pitchers used to intimidate hitters. Now hitters intimidate pitchers.
Fly ball twisting down the right field line and out of play. Dropped and then a big scrum. And that guy won.
You talk to a hitter in the 50s, 60s, maybe even the 70s, and say, you know, how would you like to go to the plate now, knowing you'll never be pitched inside? And their eyes just light up.
Two and 2 to Craig. Check swing. No, he went, said the home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy. Another strikeout. On to the 7th. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Two to 1 St. Louis. Top of the 7th inning. Stan Musial, the greatest Cardinal of them all. And one of the newest Cardinals is the left-handed reliever Barrett Browning. He's our Mid-America Chevy dealer's call to the bullpen. Joe Kelly is through Al 6 innings, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, but no earned runs and a chance of winning his 2nd game.
And it's up to the bullpen. Barrett Browning so far in his first 3 games been very good for scoreless outings. A little equipment adjustment for our home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy. Mannigan's almost had to come and help him with, I guess, his chest protector or something.
Browning 4 solid innings out of the pen so far. And he is really impressed. He's not overpowering with his stuff, as we've seen, but he's getting the job done, that's for sure.
I love his confidence. You know, he felt like he could pitch at this level a long time before he got here, and then he's going to take advantage of the opportunity.
Facing Greg Dobbs. Ramirez has left the game with a right finger laceration. Not sure whether that happened on the ground
Tony
ball.
Cruz ball.
Could be. Watch out. Fastball in. Spins around Greg Dobbs. Dobbs, Infante, and Buck here in the 7th. We had a close game here last night. The Cardinals hung on. They had a 1-run lead going into the 7th. Jason Mott was able to close it out in the 9th. Mitchell Boggs had a good inning. Ground ball foul. The 2-2. Bounce to the right side. Another good pitch by Browning. Craig takes it himself. Just stays out of the middle of the plate, doesn't he?
Stays out. He's got the good breaking ball, and he did his job. One batter, one out. He's out. Clado will be coming in. But here's the breaking ball. Tries to pull that outside pitch, and that's usually going to be a ground ball, and you're out.
Browning has retired every batter that he has faced as a major leaguer. That's all. Michael Clado is our Mid-America Chevy Dealers call to the bullpen, and very interesting that Mike Matheny has gone to the rookie Barrett Browning and to Michael Clado in a 1-run game in the 7th inning. What a evolution this bullpen has had over the course of the first half, Al.
Well, it's a work in progress. I think things have been handled very well in the 8th and 9th inning now with Boggs and Mott, but still would have Zepchinski for, you know, the 8th inning. You got Marte warming up, and we'll just have to see where things go. Plato served up the home run. That was in the first game of the series. That became the difference in a 1-run game.
No question about the arm potential and velocity of Michael Clado. Came to the Cardinals from Seattle for Brendan Ryan.
Yeah. I did not see it, but I understand Brendan made a phenomenal play in yesterday's ball game defensively.
Never a question about his glove.
No, but check all the time, and he is so far away from 200.
Ooh. Very rough season for Brendan offensively. 2-0 to Infante, who's 1 for 2. Bounced into a double play in the 4th inning. Really a key moment for Joe Kelly. Been struggling with his control, Al. A couple of runners aboard, and he got Infante to bounce into a 5-4-3 double play. Kind of kept him in this ball game.
It did keep him in the ball game, and then was able to put 2 more scoreless innings up on the books. Clado throws hard, but I think his fastball is very straight, and it's got a very effective breaking ball. There it is.
And that's how good this league is. You throw it 3-1. You won't see that as much at the lower levels of the minor leagues.
No. That is a real difference maker, is that ability to throw the breaking ball or something off speed when you're behind in the count.
And here it comes again. The 3-2 slider. It's hit down the left field line, and it is going to drop fair into the corner. and bounce out for a ground rule double for Omar Infante. He left that one on the inner half, and Infante found a hole down that left field line.
And see if Mike Matheny doesn't make a pitching change. Right, stuck over the wall right there, and that probably was going to be a break. Infante looked like he was trying to go for a triple. John Buck has really been a thorn in the side of the Cardinals. Hit the Redbirds very well.
Tying run at second base, and Plato overthrows that first pitch.
John 0 for 2 today, but he's hit in 8 of his last 10 games, batting .433, 3 doubles, a home run, and 6 RBIs, and has 7 walks. And he's hitting .176 for the season.
Infante with good speed at second.
Austin Kearns on deck, hit for the pitcher spot. Got Dunn warming up, their left-hander.
Wonder how far Mike Matheny will go with Michael Plato.
He's got Marte warming up, and he usually likes to bring him in with runners on base to clean up an inning. In the other sense, you know, you use 3 relievers to get through a 7th inning in a 1-run game.
And of course, they all have 4 off days. But you do worry about extra innings.
Yeah, but I mean this, and I think we've seen that. Plato is growing on Mike, but he has more confidence in Marte. Another walk.
We might see Marte here. 1-out walk to Buck, 2 runners aboard.
Wait till at least Kearns is announced, and now he is, and now there'll be the pitching change.
So it will be Victor Marte, the right-hander. Very key point in this ball game in the 7th. Couple runners aboard. 2-1 St. Louis. 2-1 Cardinals. Skip Schumacher with our Nissan drive of the game. It wasn't a long one, but it was effective. Base hit, RBI to center field for Schumacher. Scoring Alan Craig. That was the Cardinals' first run. Came in the 2nd inning. Tony Cruz was driven in by Rafael Furcal in the 5th. The Cardinals leading 2-1, and that's where we are as the Marlins are batting in the 7th inning, and Victor Marte is the 4th Cardinal pitcher of the afternoon.
Marte is the guy that they like to go to with runners on base. He retired batter on Friday, stranding 2. He's only allowed 5 of 27 previous inherited runners to score. And the real key when you come in with runners on base, what do you do with the first batter? He's retired 26 of 38 first batters faced.
And a pretty important question here in this ball game. What will he do with Austin Kearns? What he needs is a ground ball. And it's ball 1 to the pinch hitter Kearns.
Cardinals have turned 2 double plays on the day, and Kearns is batting .239 as a pinch hitter with 2 home runs and 13 RBIs. They have 6 pinch hit home runs on the season, the Marlins do.
Two and 0. A lot of pitches thrown by the Cardinals here today. Sanchez, on the other hand, for Miami, no walks in his 6 innings and 3 strikeouts and just 78 pitches.
It's even better than that. Did not have a 3-ball count on any hitter today, Sanchez.
That ball is hit deep to left field. Holiday is back, and this ball is gone. Another pinch hit home run for the Marlins. A 3-run shot. And Miami takes the lead 4-2 here in the 7th.
Seven, 8, and 9 spots in the order. Fonte the double, the walk to Buck, and then the pinch hit 3-run home run. And one of the real trouble spots for the Cardinals is just throws a slider but just doesn't get it away, stays on the middle half. Is a lot of home runs allowed by the bullpen. See right there, his eyes just lighting up as he sees that slider just hanging right at belt high, and it was belted.
Sure was. First 2 runs charged to Clado. So he is the pitcher of record here this afternoon on the losing side if the Cardinals can't come back. Trailing by 2 now, and they're going to have to get the bats going against the Marlins bullpen. Sanchez is out. That's the good news. Jose Reyes 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. And that has taken some of the life out of the crowd here at Busch Stadium. 38,436 on hand.
I would think that a lot of the crowd all of a sudden felt like it got about 10 degrees hotter.
Agreed. Hard hit ground ball, 1 hopper. For call, low throw. Gets Reyes. Donovan Solano, the former Cardinal minor leaguer, took over for Hanley Ramirez. Right finger laceration for Hanley forced him out of the game. So a couple of injuries for the Marlins in this series. They lost Stanton. That's a big loss. And you'd think that Ramirez is maybe just a minor deal. We'll have to wait and see.
But knocked out of the game, and we're hopefully Kearns made the big blow right here, but as the Cardinals will battle back, and you hope this spot doesn't come back. And
strike at the knees to Solano. Cardinals will have Carpenter, Schumacher, and Cruz in the bottom of the 7th. The lefty Dunn was loosening up. We expect him to pitch the 7th.
Continues to throw. So
he's had his own issues with control, so maybe the Cardinals will get to him. Ground ball to third. Carpenter throws out Solano. Big blow in the top of the 7th, delivered by Austin Kearns on this high slider. Marlins have taken the lead. Time to stretch in St. Louis. We are in the final game before the All-Star break. We'll look at the Cardinals starters and their bullpen, innings pitched and home runs allowed. This is supportive, Al Hrabosky, of what you were talking about, the number of home runs in the bullpen at a much higher rate.
Just 33 home runs and out of 240 innings, and many times it's been in situations like that. Cardinals have a lead, and then a home run by a reliever and kind of turns what potential victory into a defeat. But one thing Mike Matheny knows is his team will not give up. They will battle back. They play very hard. Sometimes they come up short. Sometimes they make that comeback and turn it into a victory.
Cardinals have 3 innings to do it, so we will see Holiday, Beltran, and Craig again. Cardinals with David Freese on their bench and Daniel Descalzo, and we may see one of those two before this game is over. Tyler Green is in the on-deck circle, and it looks like he'll bat for Skip Schumacher. Matt Carpenter, the Cardinal third baseman today, has bounced out twice. Cardinals need runners here. Bottom of the 7th inning. We're glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon for Cardinals baseball. And we hope to have a winner for you here today. There's a strike at the knees to Carpenter.
Dunn is in his third stint with Miami this season. His most recent recall was June 21st. He's had 10 appearances since that time and only allowed 1 run.
Mentioned the walks have done. He has 11 walks on the season, just 19 innings. Not the ratio you're looking for. Burley leads the National League in terms of fewest walks per 9 innings. He only has 16 walks, and he's thrown 113 innings.
And Dunn has 11 and 19.
1-2. A lot of close pitches here this afternoon that have not gone the pitcher's way. Both sides. Cardinals with 6 walks on the afternoon. No walks for Sanchez.
He didn't even have a 3-ball count on a hitter. That's how much he was throwing strikes. And really, when Cardinals really never did really sting a ball.
They did not. Fly ball to left. Logan Morrison had him played very well, didn't he? Right down that left field line. Out number 1.
One of the benefits for both these clubs is they play so many times in spring training that you really do get a pretty good read of how to defend one of them. And you see where the left fielder playing more like a right-handed pull hitter.
You make a great point, Al. Sharing the complex there, you get to see the Marlins a lot. And almost seems like every other day playing the Marlins.
As fewer teams are now in Florida, and it's players don't mind it so much because they're playing at home. Don't have to take the 2-hour bus trip.
Not just the fewer in Florida, the fewer on the East Coast too,
yes,
especially.
yeah, that's the problem now.
So the Cardinals will play the Mets and the Nationals and the Marlins. Then the Marlins, then the Mets, then the Marlins, then the Nationals.
Now you'll go over to the West Coast just to kind of break things up. And
Tyler Green behind 1 and 2. Schumacher was 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Tyler Green getting very little playing time of late. Opportunity for him here. Cardinals need a runner.
He got a big base hit down in Miami. Hopefully he can do something here to cut the lead.
Check swing. Did he go? No, says Manny Gonzalez.
Imagine for you, a former Dodger, it has to be really weird to think the Dodgers out of Dodger Town in Vero Beach.
Just thought they'd be there forever.
You did. Former Air Force base that when the Jackie Robinson and the color barrier.
Popped up behind home plate. Buck has it.
No, it had no place to play or no place to house the black players, so they said, okay, we'll just buy this old retired military base and turn it into the baseball complex. It worked well.
I lived in Dodger Town one spring training, and it's just, classic place to be, and it was a wonderful site and very fan friendly too, if you remember.
And what that did for the the local community. I mean, that was, they moved out of there. They had to take a tremendous hit on Vero.
Tony Cruz doubled and scored in the 5th. Shane Robinson in the on-deck circle. He'll pinch hit for Marte if Cruz can get aboard.
One time, and it was probably pre your time in spring training, but you know, everybody had to stay together, you know. But prior to me, it was when they had the blacks would stay in one part of the town and the white players in another, but they were all housed together. And then when I came on board, you know, the Cardinals, and it was Gussie Busch who had talked to some of the black players and said, I want you to come to the hotel at team headquarters. I want you to come to the hotel at 7 o'clock tonight. And they had to tell him, Mr. Busch, we're not allowed there. He said, what do you mean? He said, I told you to be here at 7 o'clock. Between then, he bought the hotel so they could come.
Glad he did. 4-2 Marlins. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. 4-2 Miami. Let's go to Dan McLaughlin in our studio with a Bommarito sports update. Dan?
All right, Ricky, thank you very much. Let's take a look at what's happening with the Pittsburgh Pirates, the newest addition to the Home Run Derby. Giancarlo Stanton is out. Andrew McCutchen is in. He goes deep not once, but twice. They're leading 12-2 if the Cardinals can't come back. They're 3.5 out at the All-Star break. Rick?
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that update. The Pirates playing very well. Andrew McCutchen, a star in the making. Fernando Salas takes over for St. Louis as they're trying to get back into this ball game. They're down 4-2. Only 4 hits for the Marlins, but they've made them count.
3-run home runs do that for you. But Salas, a couple scoreless appearances last few times out. Strikeout per inning.
Looks sharper.
And sent down and has come back, as you say, much sharper. He led the ball club with 24 saves a year ago.
Hooking foul.
How about
All
that?
right.
Yeah.
That guy is pumped.
Yeah, he tried to catch it.
I like
That's
it.
Great. That's great.
How cool is that? Wonderful. 0-2 to Carlos Lee. Lee's 0 for 2. Fouls it straight back. Just below our broadcast booth. Still waiting to get that first foul ball here at
We
New
could,
Busch Stadium.
but it has to have a perfect trajectory.
I just want to know if you'll protect me, Al.
I will, Rick.
Thank you.
If I can move quick enough. I told you in Detroit. Watch his backswing and comes all the way around, doesn't get Cruz, he gets the home plate umpire.
Line drive foul.
I was going to say at the old ballpark in Detroit, I had heard about it and then I experienced it. You're broadcasting, it was so low and right at the perfect angle where they said literally they recommended for broadcasters to take a glove to the broadcast booth. And I kind of thought, well, that's a little weird, but I found out it was pretty good info. And I remember doing a game in old Cleveland Municipal Stadium where I was looking at the monitor and a foul ball and watching the monitor, and all of a sudden, you know, something went whizzing by the top of my head, and it was that foul ball. So maybe Pittsburgh's not a bad, you know, press box.
No one's going to hit a foul ball that high.
No.
Not even Mike Laga. Lee, Morrison, and Ruggiano for Salas. Long one to left. Holiday back to the track, and he makes the play. How about that play by Matt Holiday? Robbing a double or more from Carlos Lee. Very nice play.
He did the right thing. You know, you run back the last second, you kind of throw your arm up. And here it is, and kind of a little jump, and hey, I caught it. A little snow cone, but he holds on to it. Just hit that ball hard enough, just didn't get underneath it to hit it out. And a nice play by Matt Holiday.
Really works at his defense.
Well, he has become there's going to be a certain segment you're going to remember him dropping the ball in the playoffs in Los Angeles that, you know, would end the game. The Cardinals lost that and didn't win the series, but but he has become a very, very good, much better outfielder than people think, and a much better outfielder than when he first showed up.
We watch him early when he's making throws into the infield, and he's not doing anything at half effort. I mean, he's not just going through the motions when he works on his defense.
And what do they talk? You know, you practice like you're playing a game. If you do it half-hearted in practice, well, it's going to show up in the game. So go game speed.
Popped up on the left side, and out of room is Matt Carpenter. I'm wondering if we'll see David Freese before this game is over. We know he has
I hope so.
We know he has a knee contusion, and that's why he was taken out of the starting lineup. But
you could think if the right opportunity presents itself, like he does have a jersey underneath. Hopefully that's what White is. Presents himself, you know, to get a game-winning hit, do it.
Cardinals looking forward to having Lance Berkman back for the second half. We've seen him run quite a bit out here early during this homestand. Set to go on a rehab assignment, which I know he's not thrilled about doing, but that's part of the deal.
I think he knows it's in his best interest.
He may go out as early as Thursday. Morrison strikes out.
Top of it, good location down and away.
Strike one to Ruggiano, who's 0 for 3. 10-game hitting streak on the line for him. Batting in the 8th. Big swing. Well, he didn't get cheated, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Long swing, big swing.
Young man I mentioned is from Texas, and his family owns a small ranch in Texas of 70,000 acres.
We know there's nothing small in Texas.
That's right. I mean, that probably is a small ranch.
Changeup on the outside corner. Late call from Cuzzy. But the call goes Salas's way. He gets him 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. 9-1 and 2 for St. Louis. Cardinals trail by 2, bottom of the 8th inning. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Final game before the All-Star break here this afternoon. Mike Dunn back out for his second inning of work. He will have Shane Robinson, the pinch hitter, then the top of the order for St. Louis for Carl and John Jay. Only 9 hits in this game. Cardinals have 5 of them. Marlins have made their 4 hits count. Fredberg trying to get the troops going. Fredberg's in a good mood today because quite a few of his t-shirts were handed out to young fans here this afternoon, so he's got to be excited.
He's always excited. And Shane Robinson is going to get things started. Went to Florida State. There's a t-shirt being put to good use. I do like the t-shirt. I think it's
very nice.
Very pretty.
Well done.
Colorful.
A little late on his first swing is Shane Robinson. He has more pinch hit appearances than any other Cardinal. 6 for 28. All-Star game on Tuesday. Very nice feature during our pregame show about the All-Star game that began in 1933 at Comiskey Park. Began as a exhibition and was one for a very long time, but now it counts. Al, like to see the National League come out on top and have home field advantage for the World Series. And you just wonder who will be in that World Series. We reached the halfway point. You think about the standings and some surprise teams. Miami not where Ozzie Guillen thought they would be. Top of the East, it's the Washington Nationals leading that division.
Watch this ball right into the dugout and over the head of some of the coaches.
The Pirates leading the Central Division. Dodgers leading the West. Yankees, White Sox, and the Texas Rangers leading in the American League.
If the Cardinals proved anything in last year is that nobody's out of it.
That's right. And now with 2 wild cards, even more so. Line drive foul. Broken bat. Looks like Robinson may have to go to get a different one, actually getting the pine tar.
And part of the speed up rules, that bat boy will have a spare bat at the ready.
There's a few other speed up rules we'd like to throw into the mix. Like a hitter doesn't get to step out of the box for 40 seconds between every pitch. You see some guys doing that.
Ricky, at one time there was a rule in the National League that once a batter gets in the batter's box, he has to stay in the batter's box unless be granted permission to leave by the umpire. But that is not enforced. I was thinking, you know, we used to call Mike Hargrove the human rain delay.
I remember that.
And he would keep 1 foot in the batter's box, but he would adjust his batting gloves and do all kinds of things, and he had the nickname the human rain delay, and yet everybody does it now.
Two and two to Robinson. And I have a theory that once the managers took the running game away from the pitchers and did it themselves, and now give a sign to the catcher on every single pitch with guys in scoring position, catcher has to get that sign before he even puts down. That has to add time.
Oh, most definitely. And then if the real speed up would be to go to the expanded strike zone. Strike zone that, you know, it's different today than when I pitched.
We don't want it that way now. Line drive foul. Not for Shane Robinson, we don't.
You know what? I think you still have just as much offense because guys are swinging the bat. And you swing the bat, you got the potential to put ball in play. You find out that a lot of those pitches up in the zone, can be crushed. I think you have just as much offense. Nobody likes to see a game of walks. Unless it's Cardinals right now. Good
at bat is right.
This is Mike Dunn in the second inning of work, and you talked about how he's had trouble throwing strikes.
Conference on the mound.
Ozzie had a righty warming up. Now he's got another lefty. Randy Schote.
Fastball misses to Furcal.
3 lefties in that bullpen for the Marlins, and nice job by Wade LeBlanc yesterday.
He was very good. Not overpowering, but good. 2 of the 6 Cardinal walks have led to Marlins runs. We'll see if the Cardinals can capitalize on the leadoff walk here. Ground ball up the middle. Tough play by Reyes. Off balance throw to get Furcal. Nice play.
Some
Robinson
of that range that Reyes has. Takes a hit away from Furcal. Right behind the bag. Then he has to make the exchange on the run. To have some arm strength there. Avoid your second baseman in a collision.
John Jay is 0 for 3. Bounced out, struck out, flew out to left. Average still at 316. Lefty on lefty here. Matt Holliday will hit next. The 1-0. Be nice to pick up at least 1 here in the 8th.
Look away just a little bit closer.
Of course, we can get
take a tie with a 2-run home run too.
Two and 1 the count to Jay. Hole on the right side and in right center. Fastball misses in. 3-1.
Hey, we'll take another walk and then a blast from Holliday.
A walk in front of Matt Holliday would not be advisable. The 3-1. Now 3-2. pitch. Ground ball to the right side. Knocked down by Infante. Off balance throw. How about that throw? He could not get his footing and had to throw the baseball while he was going to the ground, and he gets John Jay.
So two very good plays by first the shortstop Reyes, now Infante, and there you see how scrambling to get some kind of body control, get his upper body behind the throw as his feet are gone.
That would have been very easy to throw away.
Sure, throw it away, or did a nice job to keep it on the infield, save a run just right there. Holiday will get a shot though to tie it. It'll be off a new reliever.
Ozzie Guillen goes to the bullpen. Holiday represents the tying run at the plate here in the 8th. Good defense has helped out Miami here in the 8th inning.
Here Reyes. So walk to Robinson, and then Reyes gets out for call. Here John Jay looked like he's got an RBI base hit, but no, Infante takes it away from him. So there's 2 outs. Cishak will come in to pitch. Holiday at the plate, and Robinson over at third base. So Cishak got off to a great start. He allowed just 1 run in his first 13 appearances for an ERA .63, but 8 earned runs in his last 25 games for not a bad ERA, 3.818.
Hard throwing right-hander from a unique arm angle.
And right-handed batters are hitting just 177 against him.
And you'll see why when you watch this delivery. Holiday at the plate. Ball 1.
Cardinals saw him in Miami. They saw him in this series, so hopefully they'll kind of make an adjustment to that arm angle. They'll leave it in a bad spot.
2-0. Morrison way off the line and left. Ruggiano playing Holiday a bit the other way. Straight up and right is Dobbs. The 2-0 to Holiday. Strike on the outside corner. Holiday can reach. It'll be Carlos Beltran. Just the guys you want up here in the 8th inning, trailing by 2.
And Matt's extended his hitting streak to 11 games.
Holiday's jammed. 2-2. Fans would love to erupt here.
Pittsburgh won 13-2. A.J. Burnett goes to 10-2, and Lincecum 3-10.
Big spot for Holiday. And a swing and a miss, and Holiday strikes out. Cishek does his job. On to the 9th. 4-2 Miami. Coming up immediately following this afternoon's game, Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Dan McLaughlin with Chris Duncan, and they'll be analyzing this afternoon's game, and plenty to talk about here today. A 4-2 game in favor of Miami. We are in the 9th inning, and Mark Zepchinski takes over for Mike Matheny. World champs. I guess you're world champs until you're not.
That's right. Of course, I didn't say it at what.
There's a look at Mark Zepchinski. The Cardinals have used Browning, Clado, Marte, and Salas here this afternoon. A happy 40th birthday to Mimi Gaines, Cardinal fan, enjoying our telecast here this afternoon. .39 games for Zepchinski. Low walk total really hasn't been a problem. He has not been He was not sharp in the early going, that's for sure, but seems to have gotten better of late, and look forward to seeing what he can do here this afternoon.
He'd have a rally cap on if he knew how to do it. You barely see underneath that hat, can he? Tuchinski feels like he's rediscovered his slider. For some reason was throwing a little softer, trying to throw it harder now. Has good sinking action on his fastball, but been pitching behind in the count, and talked about it a lot. Just makes it that much more difficult to get good hitters out when you're pitching behind, and they're
fine line with that slider, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much you break it, how much speed you put on it, how much tilt. A bad slider is a pretty easy pitch to hit.
Oh, absolutely. And if you throw X amount of them, you're going to hang so many.
Dobbs goes the other way. Leadoff hit here in the ninth. Also, Dan Martinez's birthday today. Works with our crew, does a great job. Happy birthday to Danny.
And why he didn't visit us today? It's his
We
birthday.
couldn't find him. He's big leaguing us today.
That's all right. He deserves it. It only happens once a year. He's still young enough where he counts them.
Right. Omar Infante at the plate. Zepchinski trying to keep this game close. The Cardinals in the bottom of the ninth will have Beltran, Craig, and Carpenter. And will we see David Freese? Infante started the problems from the Cardinals' point of view in the seventh with a one-out double off of Clado. There goes Dobbs. Here's the throw down to second base, and he is out at second base.
That's more of an indication of how Tony Cruz can throw.
Very good throw.
Had plenty of time. Good tag applied by Tyler Green.
And he's out.
Leg just hung up there in the air, didn't it? But do like to see you guys slide feet first.
First, I thought Dobbs was protesting the call, but I think he was just mad at himself that he didn't get his foot down towards the bag. Good call. That's Greg Gibson at second.
Time you slide there, and like you say, it just leg just doesn't extend. It just kind of hangs in the air, and that was the difference.
And a good thing for the Cardinals that his leg did hang in the air. Otherwise, it'd be 5-2. Base hit for Infante.
Cardinals have had trouble with the lower end of the order. 6, 7, 8, 9.
Sure have.
Only one hit for the first 5 spots in the order. Down and in. There's that batter just looking right at it. Drops the bat head and falls through.
Batter was looking at the baseball. The catcher had his eye on it. The umpire did. Great shot. Buck walked and scored in that 7th inning. Infante also a threat to steal. entirely possible that Ozzie Guillen would try it again.
Fonte has 8 steals. Say you steal most of the time off the pitcher, and maybe now Zepchinski pays a little more attention to the runner at first.
Marlins lead the National League in stolen bases. Good lead for Infante. Not going. Fastball misses away. Got a nice tweet from a Cardinal fan that is encouraging me and you, Al, to give a shout out to all the ushers and concession people who have had to work during this homestand under really trying conditions. I know they've been here to serve the fans that have shown up, and they have shown up for this homestand.
But that is a very, very true. They work so well and hard, and they really are the ambassadors of the Cardinals. They're the first people the fans see is the ushers and usherettes, and they do a tremendous job here, very fan friendly. But like you say, they've had to be on their feet, in this kind of weather. There's some really wonderful people that we've gotten to know, and they do work very hard at pleasing everyone. And they do it with a smile. I like that tweet.
Very thankful for the work they do. Also, our cameramen and women do a fine job all season long. Again, trying conditions for them working here at this homestand.
Look, they're in the shade. Some of them.
Right now.
But you're right. They do. Our crew does a great job. Put them up against anybody. They know all the nuances of this ballpark. And then I think they also even got T. West. He's really a little guy. He's hiding right behind that camera.
Where is he?
Well, he's there, but he's just, James.
Another move to first for Zepchinski, paying a lot of attention to Infante. And behind in the count to John Buck.
How about the Fredberg girls? And our favorite one just got that wonderful voice.
They've been entertaining the crowd as well. And he loses John Buck. 2 runners aboard here, and the trouble continues for the Cardinals bullpen here in the 9th inning.
So 3 batters faced by Zepchinski, 2 base hits and a walk. Tony Cruz nailed Dobbs after he got the base hit and he tried to steal, so trying to get it back. And here's Cousins. Cousins will pinch hit here. 195 average, 1 home run, 3 RBIs.
The line for Cishek is the 3rd of an inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout.
Cishek got a big out, retiring Matt Holliday. He was the tying run in the plate for the Cardinals in the 8th inning. And we'll see Heath Bell in search of his 20th save of the first half in the bottom of the 9th. So Scott Cousins grounds this one to the left side. Zepchinski has it, slips, falls, and throws him out. How about that play?
Hopefully he didn't hurt himself, but I think he's all right. I think he's just kind of saying, not the way I designed that, but he made a heck of a play. His feet went out from underneath him, had nothing behind the throw. He gets this ball, and I watch him try and stop, and everything buckles last second, and still basically.
I'm not sure he's out. Very close play. He might not have touched first base, though. Ozzie Guillen not happy with the call. I'm not sure he actually hit the bag.
Kind of looked like Alan Craig kind of had his leg kind of way too much of his foot across that bag where he could get hurt too. Did he get the front part of it and kind of drag the toe across it? I'm not sure. Take another look at it. If he, he touched the base, but
Cousins called out. Bang bang play goes the Cardinals' way. Back to the top of the order, and Jose Reyes. 2 big runs out there. Pretty good pitch there. Called ball 2. We've seen 2 plays today with infielders falling to the ground, making throws. Infante did it for the Marlins, and now Zepchinski. And boy, he could have easily thrown that away, and the game could be over.
Sure. And get a fastball right on the black, up and away, but
not the best location.
No. Kind of at the mercy of the umpire to give you a break. Reyes kind of looks like he's lost his aggressiveness.
I would agree. Very defensive swings.
Pitch here, you can't let him get any more.
Full count to Jose Reyes. Infante and Buck are the runners. 4-2 9th inning. Fans on hand here encouraging the lefty Mark Zepchinski. The 3-2. Grounded foul. Cardinals are 4-2 against the Marlins this year, and they've won 9 of their last 11 against Florida, trailing here in the 9th inning.
It's all well and dandy, but you're trailing in the 9th inning. Those numbers really don't mean much, do they?
The only one you worry about is today. And a walk to Reyes. Another walk. Way too many of those today by Cardinal pitchers. Walk number 8 here this afternoon.
And Mike Matheny, so you're going to have to bring in Boggs. Scalzo going probably to second base. Tyler Green will come out. Mitchell Boggs will come in and inherit a bases loaded 2-out situation. Mitchell's been very good of late.
He's ready, just waiting for the sign. Now he gets it from the home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy. Mitchell Boggs makes his way towards the mound. We'll pause just for a moment. Plenty of changes for the Cardinals. Mitchell Boggs comes in with the bases loaded here in the 9th inning. Carlos Beltran moves from right field to center. Tyler Green moves to right field, and Daniel Descalso is the new second baseman. He'll bat in the 9th spot.
Right field, Descalso playing second base, batting the 9th spot.
Donovan Solano replaced Hanley Ramirez in the 6th inning.
And we talked about that. Could have been a very different scenario. Not that being disrespectful to Solano, but doesn't have the pedigree that Hanley Ramirez would have. And hopefully Boggs can have another successful outing. 10 straight scoreless appearances.
First pitch misses inside, ball 1. Mentioned now the walks.
8.
Very frustrating. 8 walks for St. Louis.
Only reliever not used this afternoon is Jason Mott.
Two 2-0 to Solano. Looked like that pitch might have been off the plate in. He thankfully swung at that.
Yep.
Solano hit over 400 in spring training for Ozzie Guillen. There's a strike at the knees. Good pitch from Mitchell Boggs. And he is one pitch away from stranding 3 runners and sending us to the bottom of the 9th inning, where we'll see Beltran, Craig, and Carpenter.
And more.
And hopefully more. You bet. The 2-2 from Boggs. Pop foul over the Cardinals dugout. We'll do it again. Infante, Buck, Reyes. No place to put Solano. The 2-2 from Mitchell Boggs. Fouled back. Just barely got a piece of that.
Good slider down and away. Just got a little piece of it. Solano is batting .313. No home runs, 6 RBIs, and limited play after a very good spring.
And it's a called third strike. Mitchell Boggs does the job again. Stranding 3. Bottom of the 9th is next. Game number 40 for Heath Bell. ERA over 6. 19 saves in 24 opportunities. Brought on by Ozzie Guillen here in the bottom of the 9th inning to try to close this one out. 4-2 Miami. Beltran 2 for 5 against Bell in his career. Will lead it off. Carlos 0 for 3. Austin Kearns, big hit in this game.
Pinch hit, 3-run home run, his 3rd pinch hit home run of the season, 7th for the Marlins. And the Cardinals will have their chances. Heath Bell, who over the last 3+ seasons leads the majors with 151 saves, trying to get number 20, but he's had his problems in his career and even this year against St. Louis. Got a 3 games, 15 ERA against St. Louis, and there's his numbers in his career. 0-3, ERA almost 9, 5 saves, but 3 blown saves.
So you're saying we got a chance?
Got a chance. Remember, he came in down in Miami trying to protect a 4-run lead, a non-save situation, and Big blow on that one was Yadier Molina's game-tying home run.
Strike one to Beltran.
And his numbers here in St. Louis are even worse than those Gotti numbers against the Cardinals in his career.
Inside strike. 0-2 on Beltran. Cardinals with just 5 hits today. Sanchez started this game. He was good. Just 78 pitches through 6. We've seen Dunn, Cishak, and now Heath Bell. The 0-2 fouled off.
So again, good starting pitching from Joe Kelly. He was in line for the win after 6 innings. Turned it over to the bullpen, and they ran in trouble in the 7th. Seems like the Cardinals have locked down the 8th and 9th inning now, but that 7th inning still can be a problem.
Reds are leading the Padres. The Pirates have already beaten the Giants. Swing and a miss. Beltran strikes out. 1 out here in the 9th. And now Alan Craig.
Beltran really in a little funk. Off-speed pitch, way off the plate. Swings at it. If this game holds, Ricky, the Cardinal bullpen will have a record of 7-15. ERA over 4.5. Got to tighten that up.
We have seen a number of pitches up and in on Alan Craig in this series.
Can understand them trying to throw the ball up and in to try and get him out, but there's a good fastball there, down and where he wanted it.
Jason Mott has 20 saves for the Cardinals. He got his 20th here yesterday. Jason Isringhausen, Ryan Franklin, Lee Smith, and Bruce Sutter, the only Cardinals ever with 20 saves in the first half of a season. Now Jason joins that group. Heath Bell looking for his 20th save. Two on one on Craig. Now 3-1.
Somehow, some way, get on base.
Ground ball left side, base hit, Alan Craig. Cardinals not going quietly in the 9th. His 2nd hit of the afternoon.
Alan Craig just pulls that ball through the left side of the infield. Giving you hope. You can see a scenario where Matt Carpenter gets on base, and then you have David Freese hit for Tyler Green, and he gets the game-winning home run and sends everybody home happy. And off to a nice break for the All-Star. That's what it is.
He sent us home happy before.
Yep.
Freeze in the on-deck circle.
Young man caught that pop fly barehanded. Little guy. Nice, kind of embarrassed. Like, what did I just do? Nice catch.
Way to go. Matt Carpenter facing Heath Bell.
Still a lot of fans in the stands trying to hope for this comeback.
And they have been vocal today. The 1-1. Grounded to the right side, foul. Carlos Lee playing behind Alan Craig, but he's guarding that line. Solano off the line at third. Big space in right center for Matt Carpenter. The 1-2. Hit to left center, hit hard, into gap. This ball is down. Ground rule double, Matt Carpenter. And the tying run is now at second base. And here comes David Freese.
That's what we talked about. What they try to get Matt Carpenter to do in spring training is to drive the ball. Just kind of flare and quail all around, but drive the ball. And here's your scenario right now. The Cardinals are running out of players, so end it now.
We've seen everybody except Brian Anderson and Jason Mott.
Now you do, because the All-Star break, you could find starting pitchers to go into a tie game, but that's not the intent. The intent is to end it right here with one swing of the bat. Been a while. We've had 2 walk-off hits or walk-off games this year. How about a third?
Fastball high to David Freese. Tying runs at second. The potential winning run at the plate. Ozzie Guillen feeling the heat.
5 games against Miami this season, 579, 4 RBIs, looking to make it 7.
The 2-0.
Score. How much we pay this guy? You either got to love playing for Ozzie or you can't stand it, but he'll keep you loose. Randy Schote, the lefty, warming up in the bullpen, but they got their closer.
Ball 4. David Freese, probably a pinch runner for him.
Wouldn't it be fitting for Tony Cruz to do something spectacular here? Randy St. Clair, the pitching coach, out to talk to Heath Bell. Struck out Beltran, and then Alan Craig singled, the double by Matt Carpenter, a walk to Freese.
Freese did not see a pitch to hit. 4 straight balls out of the strike zone. He represents the potential winning run, but the Cardinals, with very few players, not pinch running for him. And he's got a sore knee from the contusion yesterday.
They don't have Joe Kelly because he started this ball game. You could put Kyle Loesch out there, but you may need Loesch to pinch hit at some point, or
somebody's got to play the field too.
You do have Brian Anderson on the bench. He's your last reserve, and only one reliever, Jason Mott. So
Daniel Descalzo is on deck. Tony Cruz at the plate, and it's strike 1 on the inside corner. Cruz is 1 for 3. Yadier Molina had a big hit against Heath Bell.
Called a strike, but out of the strike zone.
Fouled at the plate, 0-2. Heath Bell and the Cardinals have made this interesting in the bottom of the ninth. Tying run at second.
Said we'd have a chance. And we don't often say that when Heath Bell, as you said, leads.
Fly ball to left field. Tagging at third is Craig. He's going to score. And it's now 4-3 Miami. Sacrifice fly for Cruz.
All 4 of his RBIs this year have been against Miami.
We're going to give Austin Kearns our player of the game, brought to you by Budweiser for his 3-run home run in the 7th inning. But this game is not over yet.
You're right about that. And somebody's going to be eating their words after Descalzo does something.
Strike 1 to Descalzo. You wonder if that ball that Carpenter hit did not bounce over the wall. Descalzo, Carpenter with his speed has had a few triples.
He's got 4 to lead the ball club.
Might have been a bad break. Descalzo, the 0-1. Now 0-2.
Hopefully the Cardinals will pull this one out, but this is kind of one of those one-run decisions that Mike Matheny was talking about, that sometimes it ends up being a one-run loss, but our team battled back and it just came up a little short.
Cardinals battling. 0-2 on Descalzo. In the dirt. 59-footer that hit off the chest of John Buck. That could have been a problem for Miami if this ball gets away.
Absolutely. Just move them up, runners up to second and third. Heath Bell about to make his 24th pitch.
He's got his sign. Descalzo is ready. The 1-2. Ground ball foul. Solano,
nice.
Solano off the line at third, as we mentioned.
Inside the bag, down into the corner. At the very least, tied the ball game. Probably put runners at second and third.
And he's still off the line. Carlos Lee hugging it on the first base side. Descalzo, the 1-2. High, ball 2.
A year ago, Daniel just thrived in these late and close situations. Not sure Ozzie can keep on looking. Mike trying to keep things very positive, pull for his team.
Bell is set. In the dirt, 3-2. The runners will be moving.
Boy, that could be really big. You pitch it to a running count.
Burkall would hit next if needed.
Would they go to the lefty in the bullpen? Now they're getting a righty up also.
Carpenter and Freeze will be moving. 3-2, bottom of the ninth.
Make sure he pitches. You can let him balk him over to second and third and then get the base hit to win the game.
This crowd is in it. The pitch. Fouled off. We'll do it again. David Freese looks like he's running okay.
I was just looking at the same thing.
with the full count. 3 for 13. A home run would be nice. Anything would be nice. The runners have their lead. They'll be off with the pitch again. And again, Bell doesn't like the sign. Ed steps off. Ground ball, foul.
Pitches thrown by Bell. 17 strikes, 11 balls, and we're still going at it. The more pitches you see, the more chance or likelihood you're going to get a mistake. Something you could handle.
Fans on their feet. Descalzo is ready. The 3-2. Pop foul will do it again. Exciting ninth inning. Mitchell Boggs kept it close by striking out Solano with the bases loaded. And the Cardinals rallying here in the bottom of the ninth.
10 pitch at bat for Descalzo. Usually that means success for the hitter.
Bell is ready. So is Descalzo. The pitch is low, ball 4. And the bases are loaded for Rafael Furcal. Good at bat, Descalzo.
No other way to describe it.
Tying run just 90 feet away. Winning run at second. Furcal, 308 in his career against Bell. Two walks in the inning.
He said this Cardinal team is going to play hard, win, lose, or draw, but
ball 1. Do you take a strike?
I would.
I tend to agree with you.
Not how they play the game now. They just feel that first pitch you're going to see a strike. So if you fall behind, likelihood you're going to see a better one.
Good swing by Furcal. He wasn't taking there. Just as you said, he was hacking. The two key runners, Carpenter at third, Freeze at second. Trying to get a big lead off of second is David Freeze. Furcal with a chance to win it in the ninth.
Oh, that appeared low, didn't it?
Very close.
Maybe we're seeing it with our heart. Oh, it's a ball.
Well, you saw the strike. You saw it with your brain and your eyes. 1-2 to Furcal. Line drive, base hit to left. The Cardinals have tied it, and they may win it. Play at the plate, and he is saved. The Cardinals win it. David Freeze slides under the tag. Come from behind victory for St. Louis, and they are celebrating together at second base. Rafael Furcal, the game winner.
One of the best games of the season. This is a way to end the first half. Send Furcal to the All-Star game. Let all the players enjoy the time off and then be ready for the showdown in the second half. And it starts with Cincinnati.
Here's the replay.
Breaking ball down the way, slicing it, hitting to the opposite field. A long time to get rid of that ball by Morrison. Right there, a little trouble with the exchange, trying to go there, and he couldn't apply the tag. Cuzzy with a great call and the correct call. Buck had trouble trying to get that tag down. Watch him right there. He sees the trouble, and he slides across the plate ahead of the tag.
David Freese scores the game winner.
Fans that stuck around, they got their money's worth, didn't they?
What a night. Post-game show comes up next. 5-4 Cardinals winner.
Doesn't get much better than this one. Dan McLaughlin and Chris Duncan with you. 5-4 the final. Cardinals take 2 of 3 before the All-Star break. And Dunk, what a way to go into the break.
Well, the middle relief continues to struggle, but how about the offense picking up the bullpen? Matt Carpenter, Alan Craig did a terrific job off a struggling closer, and that's a heck of a way to go out before the All-Star break.
Struggling to say the least. That is Heath Bell. He struggled in Miami. We saw that. He struggles here in St. Louis. David Freese sliding into home plate, safe. He'll slide across the state for the All-Star game on Tuesday night. What a thrilling victory. Back with more in a moment on the post-game show.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Line drive, base hit to left. The Cardinals have tied it, and they may win it. Play at the plate, and he is safe. The Cardinals win it.
2 RBIs on the play for Rafael Furcal. He now has 36, and the Cardinals win it by the score of 5-4. No happy flight, but a happy All-Star break, to say the least, and a lot of happy fans heading to their cars and heading home. 5-4 the final this afternoon. And welcome into Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live here on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. Chris Duncan, Dan McLaughlin with you. And Chris, from a player's perspective, a win like this going into the break, what does it mean?
I think it's a huge win, Dan. Anytime you can come from behind and win a game like that, especially against a good closer like Heath Bell. I know he's been struggling, but this guy's still a very good pitcher. I think it shows a lot about the character of this ball club, the fact that they didn't give in and they continued to take good at-bats and found a way to pull it off.
Well, our Chevy player of the game, no surprise here, the man that drove in the winning runs. That's Rafael Furcal, and he's standing by with Rick Horton. Rick?
Thanks, Dan. Our star of the game is Rafael Furcal. His 2-out hit in the 9th inning, the game winner. Rafi, congratulations.
Thank you so much. You know, it's very exciting for me. I know I'm being struggling a little bit with running and scoring position. And then that's a bigger one for us.
Really a team effort there in that 9th inning. A very exciting moment. The crowd was still in it, and you guys just had some great at-bats in that 9th.
You know, that's why you have to be a little patient, because we know Keith Bell is not the closer he used to be, a little wild this year, and then you got to go to the home plate. That's what we need, the running and base, because that's the way you win the game, and that's what we do, it, a lot of patience and getting base and big hit.
Well, we want to congratulate you, Rafi, too, for being an all-star selection, and probably no better way to go on to Kansas City than a win like this at home.
Thank you so much.
All right, congratulations, Rafi, our star of the game. Outstanding moment here at Busch Stadium. We bring in Al Raboski, and this is just a comeback that the Cardinals have really needed for a while.
Yeah, it really is the third comeback of the season, but this is the best one. And what a way to end this type of ball game and send not only Furcal and all the contingent to the All-Star game, let them enjoy that moment, but also let everybody just have a good 3-day vacation and then come back here ready to play great baseball in the second half.
Al, there were some good at-bats in that 9th inning, but we do have to credit Mitchell Boggs for what he did in the top of that inning.
Well, that's right, because if he doesn't strike out and strand those 3 runners, you know, we aren't talking about this comeback from 2 runs. We have to come back from say, anywhere from 3 to 5 runs. So the bullpen did their job. You know, after the home run, everything kind of fell into place. And as you said, this team did not quit. Mike Matheny could be very, very proud of them, and this was a very important win.
Hard to imagine a better 9th inning. That's it from here. We'll send it back to you, Dan.
All right, guys, thanks. First inning, let's run through the highlights. If you're just joining us, top of the first, Joe Kelly really struggled to find his command early on, didn't he?
I thought there was a big-time difference between the tempo of Joe Kelly and the tempo of Sanchez. It looked like that first inning, Joe Kelly was really taking a lot of time in between pitches, anywhere from 10 to 14 seconds, where on the other hand, Sanchez was working really quick, knew it was hot, and he was throwing a ton of strikes.
Good to see this. Skip Schumacher another start and back-to-back games with an RBI. We jump ahead to the fourth, and Kelly is in another jam, but this time Omar Infante bouncing into a double play.
I think that was the turning point of the game, Dan. That was a huge double play for Joe Kelly. It's actually amazing that he pitched as good as he did when you consider the fact that he had a career high in walks with 5 walks, but he still found a way to have a decent line.
For Kyle with RBI number 34, but as we just saw, he wasn't done there. We jump ahead to the top of the 7th inning. The Cardinals bullpen. This is a problem that has to be addressed, I'm sure, in the next 3 weeks for John Mozeliak. That's the 33rd home run allowed by the Cardinals bullpen, 4th most in baseball. At that time, it puts the Marlins on top 4-2. But as we just saw, we weren't done. 9th inning, the Cardinals get things going.
And I think Matt Carpenter continues to impress everybody. He gets opportunities, and every time he gets opportunities, he comes up with big hits, and that's such a clutch at bat. Good hitters in clutch situations take the ball the other way, and that's exactly what Matt Carpenter did in the 9th.
Tony Cruz with an RBI. Molina out all weekend. He'll miss the All-Star game. Nice weekend for Tony Cruz against the Marlins. And then here's the winner after David Freese was able to reach base. He eventually then was able to score. What a win for St. Louis, and one of the most dramatic wins of the season so far. And one of the things you'll notice with the reaction of this team and with the slide, somebody, as they'll always tell you, Dunk, they always have something to do on the baseball field. How about Matt Carpenter right there telling him where to slide?
That's huge, Dan. Anytime you can have a teammate behind the catcher telling you what side of the plate is open, that gives you a huge advantage as a base runner. And you can see right there, David Freese took advantage of that, and he found the opening of the plate, and he was barely safe. What a huge slide. What a huge play, and that's a good job by Matt Carpenter.
Marlins did argue a bit about that final call, but clearly he was safe, and the Cardinals come up with a dramatic win. Boggs now 2-1. It's another loss, another blown save for Heath Bell. He's 2-5. That has been a nightmare so far for the Marlins. It is a 3-year contract they signed him to. He's blown a couple now against St. Louis. Cardinals are done with the Marlins this year, 5-4 the final, and Mike Matheny is addressing the media as we speak.
Mike, how great a comeback would you say that was today?
Well, I'd say, you know, besides the one we had down in Miami, coming back from the 4 runs, this was right there with it. It's great to do it at home. Great to do it the timing right before the break. Great to do it because we were running out of pitching. But all things, it was just a lot of great things happened that game.
Mike, can you talk about those final 2 at-bats by Descalzo and for calling how tough they were on a good closer like Bell?
Incredible at-bat by Danny, and obviously Rafi coming through, but Danny fighting off tough pitches and you know, just grinding. That's the kind of, you know, we say it all the time. He's just a good baseball player, and right there came in a big situation, you know, coming off the bench basically. He'd been in a little bit, but coming in against their closer, that's not an easy assignment, and he did a terrific job.
You don't want to put too much on any one game, but with the break coming up like you talked about, it gives you good thoughts throughout the next few days. I'm sure there's something important about that.
No question. No question. And just to watch them fight like they did, guys up on the top step, and they've been out there baking. And today was a warm one, and you know, we keep saying that, but just the positive vibe you got. There's probably as good as anyone we've had right now, and it's a great way to send these guys off. They've played hard this first half, plus a couple games, and it'd be nice for them to stew on that for a while and think about the positive things that we have yet ahead of us.
How tough is it, those at-bats, to block out the distractions of, you know, the game could possibly end right there? How hard are those at-bats in those situations?
It is difficult not to start thinking about or putting more pressure on yourself, and, you know, and that's what these guys do. It's amazing that even they do that, and they train themselves. Even in BP, you'll see them talk in different situations. That if you know, this is the situation, it's bottom of the 9th, and guys on base, 2 outs. You know, they do that to replicate pressure, and you know, it's along with those same lines we've talked about all the 1-run games we've been in. You know, I still say that it's going to pay off for us because guys have been in situations like that a lot this season, and it's going it's going to be something as a benefit down the road. And you could see that Danny was he was prepared. He was prepared just to take an at bat like he knew how.
Was there something wrong with Zepp when he came off the mound today?
I think he was a little hot and beat down a little bit. At that point, though, we were slim on pitching, and I really needed him to get through that one. And we just got to the point where we had to try and go for a win, stay within 2 runs. And Mitchell came in and did a great job of getting us out of it, like he's done a lot this first half.
Were any starting pitchers available today with the break coming up? Could you have gone that direction if you had to?
Well, could have. We were trying not to, and I was trying to get my head around how to play a 2-inning game, get 2 out of Mott. We would have used Anderson there to hit if something would have happened, just to get 1 run in, and then we would have had to gone to Mott. But that's that would have been a good problem to have. Got a closer on the mound, 2 opportunities, 2 innings to get something done, but it would have been pretty creative. But the guys were all coming up. They were all volunteering. The starters were volunteering to run the bases, play the outfield, and they would have pitched.
Command was kind of an issue for Joe, and the bullpen as well. Was anything wrong particularly that you saw?
No, we've seen some of that from Joe, and he'll we really attack the zone. The next thing you know, he's working behind, and that's he's had elevated pitch counts almost every start, and not being able to work too late into the game, and that's just something I think that's part of maturity. And he's going to get better. He's doing a nice job. But the thing he does is he pitches himself into trouble, and he typically gets himself out. So we've seen some very good things in that regard.
Plato and Marte kind of caused the problems there in that inning.
Yeah, Michael has really been in the strike zone. What we saw last year, he was more erratic, but he pitched much better so far this year, and he earned an opportunity to come in that 7th. We talked about that, trying to find somebody to take a hold of the reins of that position, and he actually battled back to full count, and then throws the slider that ends up hanging a little bit too much, but not not that bad of a pitch in that particular count and situation. And then the walk's what hurt him after that, and that's just some of that's youth, and some of it's just sometimes it's tough to execute in high pressure situations. But I still think he's going to pitch some big innings for us.
Was Freeze just this was a day off, and
No, he was a little sore. He got hit by a pitch yesterday, and some swelling had moved into his knee.
So any hesitation to go with him and pinch hit?
No hesitation. No, he was ready. Told me he was ready. We needed him.
Obviously, he was okay to run.
Apparently,
he got there barely.
Yeah, but he got there.
Yeah.
So barely doesn't count.
Is Salas to some degree kind of moving toward closer to the top of the deck now?
Yeah, it'd be easy to sit there and ask why Salas wasn't in there instead. And it's a coin flip in that particular situation. But to me, Clayto's done a nice job. And but Fernando's always been a guy who's held his composure in high pressure, and he's getting much better. We've just been trying to get him to where he's feeling real confident about his stuff, so we can use him in higher leverage innings.
Are you seeing what you want to see from him right now?
It's getting close. Yeah, getting close.
Just personally, to flip that game like that, given where it had gone, and then what you do with it at the end, I would think personally that's got to be a nice way to go into the break.
Yeah, it'd probably been at least the next day and a half would have been really rough to swallow. But you look at what we did. We took a best shot. Guys went out there and fought and played hard like they've done all season. And I hope these fans, I know guys love playing in front of them, but I hope they appreciate the style. They're just relentless in how they keep fighting and coming back. And it's nice to do this at home. And once again, yeah, it's very rewarding to be able to head out with that kind of win. All right, guys.
Clearly a very relieved Mike Matheny after a big win for the Cardinals, arguably their biggest win of the season here at home. They had another huge one, and that was off of Heath Bell. That was in Miami, and they came back, and that was the game that Molina hit the home run off of Bell. Cardinals were down by 4 in that game and won it in extra innings. But, Chris, in this particular game, you know what it's like. A lot of guys have plans to get out of town, get back home, get away from baseball for a while. Kind of a hard day to really focus on the game, isn't it?
You're exactly right, Dan. This is actually one of the hardest games to stay focused, especially when you're thinking about that party down at the lake, on the houseboat. and you start thinking about the vacation and how you're going to get an opportunity to relax and how fatigued your body is. But good players don't do that. Not veteran players, not good teams. And I think this was a huge win for the Cardinals because they didn't give in. And they were from behind, and they continued to fight, and they continued to grind out at bats. And Alan Craig, Carpenter, these guys all did a great job.
What are you seeing right now with Heath Bell? What's going on with this guy?
I think his arm speed is a little bit slower than what we've seen in the past. I don't think his arm can catch up, and I think that's allowing him to leave a lot of balls on the third base side of home plate. His slider at times is backing up. We saw in the ninth inning a couple times when he did throw a slider, it didn't have that hard, sharp break down and away. It almost floated over the middle of the plate. This is a perfect example of that pitch right there, Dan, to Tony Cruz. Backs up on him a little bit, and that ball gets driven into the outfield for a sac fly.
Heath Bell, his 6th blown save of the season. That's a major league lead. That was a key walk, and then all of a sudden the heroics for Rafael Furcal as Ozzie Guillen has had some uneasy moments with his free agent closer. This would score 2, and the Cardinals would win it. The Cardinals are now 46-40. They're 6 over 500 for the first time since May 23rd. Pittsburgh did win. The Cardinals win, so the Cardinals go into the break 2.5 games out. And Dunk, now you take a look at what happens after the break. It's a refresher for a lot of folks around this game, around the team. They come back, they feel refreshed. And for the GM, this is crunch time and trying to improve this team. Cardinals have talked about trying to improve their bullpen, and obviously Heath Bell is getting his bell rung. Not good. 19 innings, 0-4 ERA. That's close to 10. If you break it down even further, he has a 21 ERA, 3 blown saves in St. Louis since 2008. So the question, though, becomes from a St. Louis perspective, how do you improve this team from here on out?
I think the one area, and you know as well as I do, that you could really improve is the middle relief. And I think we saw Mike Matheny today give Clado an opportunity in a very close ball game, and all of a sudden he ran into some trouble. Mike Matheny goes back to the bullpen, brings in Marte against a hitter, Austin Kearns, who's a veteran player. His bat's slowed down a little bit. You fall into a 2-0 count, tries to throw him an off-speed pitch, leaves it up in the zone, and Austin Kearns hits it out of the ballpark. Boggs has been great. Mott's been great in the ninth inning. The starting pitching of late has been great. But the one area this ball club could really improve is the middle relief.
And we're going to find out. John Mozeliak will be hard at work, you know that, the next 3 weeks or so. Having some fun here at Busch Stadium just moments ago. Rafael Furcal with a game winner.
Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is brought to you by Carrier. For all your heating and cooling needs, turn to the experts at CarrierComfortTeam.com. And by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win.
Joe Kelly made the start this afternoon. He also started back in Miami. In that game, it was 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. He did strike out 3, and he walked a couple. Now today, Dan McLaughlin and Chris Duncan back with you. And Dunk, today, it was the 5 walks that really got to Joe Kelly. And you did something very interesting on this hot afternoon. You were timing in between pitches.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, especially in the first inning. Joe Kelly was working significantly slower than Sanchez was for the Marlins, and I thought to myself, if I'm a position player and I'm standing out there and it's 96 degrees, I want my pitcher to work as quick as possible, and I want him to fill that strike zone up with all 3 of his pitches. And it looked like to me Joe Kelly early on was working really slow, and he was having trouble commanding his pitches, but I think it's a credit to Joe Kelly and how good his stuff was that he was able to get through today, still throw 6 innings and only give up 1 run, because like I said earlier, he had the career high in walks with 5.
Had a double play behind him at a key point in this game. That was big. And the starters of St. Louis against Miami, this is 7 games. Remember, they opened up the season in Miami, just that 1 game. We had 3 on the last road trip, 3 here, and the ERA very good, 1.94.
It's not a great offensive club in Miami, but they have some very dangerous hitters. Giancarlo Stanton wasn't in the lineup today, but they still have Logan Morrison, who's actually swinging a really hot stick. And we all know what Carlos Lee's capable of doing. We've seen him in Houston for years, so they still have some very dangerous bats. You got to give the Cardinals pitchers credit for really keeping them under control.
And Dunk, we were talking about it before the game. One thing about Joe Kelly, his fastball has been very good. That's bailed him out of trouble. At times, his curveball has been hit and miss. It's our Don Brown deal of the game. And let's take a look at that bender for Mr. Kelly. How good was it today?
This is a pitch for Joe Kelly that he has to keep improving. If you're a guy whose average fastball is 93.8 miles per hour, you have to show that hitter up there that you can command your breaking ball. Otherwise, they're going to go up there, especially in hitters counts, and they're going to sit dead red fastball, and big league hitters can catch up to that pitch. But Joe Kelly today did a great job showing those Marlins players that he's not just a fastball pitcher. He used his breaking ball. We even saw him at times use it in 3-2 counts, 0-0 counts, 1-1 counts, and I think that's what he needs to do to keep these Marlin hitters off balance. And he did a great job using that breaking ball. 9 outs today, Dan, on the breaking ball.
I like that graphic. Curve your enthusiasm. Yes, we're talking about Joe Kelly, and the double plays were big. But what happened with the strikeouts, a lot of times it happened with that curveball. So the curveball obviously is a big factor for him.
I think it was huge that he showed enough confidence to use that curveball in a 3-2 count. That's a tough pitch for a young pitcher that just gets to the big leagues to have enough confidence, especially with guys in scoring position, to throw that 3-2 breaking ball. That's tough to do, but Joe Kelly looks like he continues to make adjustments at the big league level. He's used the slider at times. Now today he showed that he can use the breaking ball and the slider, and at times he's used the changeup. I thought today he had a big out in the first inning where he used the changeup. That's what big league starters need to do. They need to use all 4 pitches.
Well, it should be fun to watch what the Cardinals do leading into the deadline. And you were talking about, middle relief is something they have to take a look at with a 30-plus home runs allowed. And it leads into Joe Kelly. Could Joe Kelly be one of those guys that could bounce to the bullpen, or does he have to stay in the rotation? Lance Lynn, an all-star. Great first half. What will happen in the second half? All those things come into play, and Joe Kelly could have a big part in what the Cardinals do.
I think Joe Kelly, being a former closer in college, could actually have a great impact in the bullpen. When you think about how hard he's been able to throw in the starting rotation, there's no doubt in my mind that if he got moved to the bullpen, he would be able to throw even harder. Now, he's done a great job in the starting rotation, but if John Mozeliak decides to go out there on the trade market and bring in a starter, I think Joe Kelly has a big enough arm where he can make an impact in the 6th inning, in the 7th inning, and all of a sudden give that bullpen a lot more depth. It'll be interesting to see what John Mozeliak tries to do before the trade deadline. But right now, the middle relief's struggling, and Joe Kelly's showing everybody that he's got a big arm.
6 games over the 500 mark for the first time since May 23rd. The Cardinals, dramatic fashion, 5-4, the winner, Joe Kelly. We'll talk to him when we come back.
Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is brought to you by Country Financial. What's your idea of financial security?
6 innings this afternoon for Joe Kelly, 5 walks. He's off the hook. The Cardinals win it 5-4. That's Chris Duncan. I'm Dan McLaughlin. You were talking about the curveball and how important that pitch can be for Joe Kelly, has to be in the future, but also his slider was effective too.
You're exactly right. I think the slider is a huge pitch for Joe Kelly. For number one, it's really hard to get a big league umpire to call a big breaking ball a strike. And I think the slider, being a shorter pitch that doesn't break as much, is definitely a pitch that Joe Kelly can use to show the hitter that he has an off-speed pitch that he can command in the strike zone. Also, Dan, the slider looks a lot more like your fastball. And I know as a hitter, if a pitcher out there is featuring both the big breaking ball and the slider, and he's a guy with a good fastball, it makes it extremely difficult. And I think that's what Joe Kelly's going through right now. I think he's going through the process of making adjustments at the big league level. The command's off at times, but the slider is definitely a pitch that he has to keep improving with.
It's very good stuff. 1 unearned run for Joe Kelly here this afternoon. He had the 5 strikeouts, the 5 walks in 6 innings, and moments ago he met with the media.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting frustrated. It was really frustrating for me. I mean, getting behind guys and then making pitches that weren't called, and then I tried to go down the middle and they were just low. Falling behind guys, the walks, which was killer, but I just kept trying to make my pitch, and with guys on, you can't really give in, and eventually try to make a pitch, and I make good pitches at good times, and helped me get out all those jams. So.
Another day where you gave them a chance to win. You talked about that a lot, pitching well out to win, and that's what you did again today.
Yeah, I mean, had some trouble finding the strike zone with my fastball. Slider felt good. I had command of speeds, location, and that was my go-to today. And I mean, there's always been days where you're not going to have a pitch, and today was the number 1 pitch. And I mean, I just try to find ways to get around those jams and get my ground ball or get my fly ball or a strikeout when I needed it. But overall, I mean, I'm not gonna look at it as a terrible outing, but I'll take the negatives of the walks and then try to improve on that.
Did you feel like your command was off, or you just have a little trouble with maybe adjusting to the strike zone?
It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, and then small strike zone. I mean, but that's what you got to deal with it. Adversity right there. You can't make excuses, and you got to pitch to what the guy back there wants. And like I said, just try to make pitches, and eventually my pitches came in big spots.
On balance, I mean, it seems as though you've done a very good job holding the situation, not just in games, but for the rest of the rotation, coming up in the circumstances you did. I mean, I think you got to be fairly pleased with what you've done in your time here.
Oh yeah, I'm really pleased. I mean, I just go out there and try to keep it close, and I feel like I've done my job by keeping us in the game and helping us get great wins like this today.
All right, that's Joe Kelly. Now let's go pitch by pitch. What did you see here in the third?
I thought this was a great job by Joe Kelly. He's got a really good hitter at the plate in Hanley Ramirez, and he does a great job of throwing a first pitch breaking ball for a strike, follows it up with another breaking ball in the strike zone, and then he goes fastball in off the plate, follows it up with another fastball in, which is really good when you're talking about being behind in the count or ahead of the count as far as the pitcher's concerned, and then another off-speed pitch. That's a big out.
Dunk, you were talking about this during the break. Joe Kelly, and really the difference between very good pitchers in the major leagues to the guys that aren't that elite level, or even a difference between a minor league pitcher and a major league guy, the fact that they can locate a breaking ball or throw their off-speed pitches, whether they're behind in the count, it's a 3-2 count, whatever the case may be, but they have that element in there with the scouting report where a guy just can't sit dead red.
You're exactly right, and I would know better than anybody because I was a dead red fastball hitter, and anytime that starter on the other team could locate a breaking ball first pitch, I knew that I was in trouble. If it was a guy that really had trouble locating his breaking ball, I knew in the back of my mind I could eliminate that pitch. I could go up there and I could sit dead red fastball, and eventually over the course of 3 at-bats, I knew I was going to get enough fastballs to hit that I was going to be able to do damage. It is so important for big league starters when they get runners in scoring position to be able to throw a first pitch breaking ball for a strike, or even if they fall behind in the count, to be able to throw a changeup or a slider for a strike. And I think that's what Joe Kelly's learning to do, and I thought that was a great example that they showed right there on the highlight. Hanley Ramirez, legitimate big league hitter up there, first pitch breaking ball for a strike.
But David Freese scores the winning run. He did not start today. He was initially in the lineup. Been dealing with a bruise, as you heard Mike Matheny talk about from yesterday. We'll hear from David Freese when we come back.